How is everyone doing tonight? I see a few people filtering in. I am still getting my music going, but I had to make sure that I got live before 9:31. Young Bambino, I saw Dan is late. Is this a top signal? I was not late. As long as I'm live before 9:31, by my count, I was about 5 seconds early. That's at least the way replied to me before he hit go live. I did. How's it going, Zach? Nice to see you. Zach, I believe, is visiting our own beloved old school Pokemon. I did have a very great weekend this past weekend. I got to see Zach and Nick and some other Poke people at a wedding. So that was a really fun time. Maybe I'll talk about that at some point later. I don't have like a big, long rant built out front, per the suggestion of Gem Mint Pokemon, who, I mean, he doesn't make content too frequently, but he is one of the OG GOATs. So maybe I should go with his suggestion. But he said I should try and do better, at least occasionally on a live stream, sticking with the live chat. I don't know that in this market, I don't know that in this time that we're in, with what YouTube viewership is doing, that I'll be able to. But I will try my best to stay up with the comments as we go. I'm not going to go on a long-winded rant beforehand. So hit me with questions. I'm here for the next 30 minutes. If that's all we've got, I think we'll have more than that. I'm here for up to the next 2.5, 3.5 hours if people are here for it. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about? I put in the thumbnail, Pokemon Investments Soar, live Q&A. And I did some stuff with the thumbnail regarding the election. Obviously, that's the time we're in right now. The election is over. I don't think that will have major ramifications one way or the other on Pokemon. I'm not going to really talk too much about politics or anything like that. This is not that kind of channel. But some people will really think from time to time that there are things that will have major effects in Pokemon. I don't buy into it as much. I think the market is going to do what it's going to do, largely regardless of what or who color the party of the White House is. Yeah, so that's my take on that. Zach, when is the next pod? That is a good question. When is the next pod? Man, it's not even on long enough that I can remember that. It's not even on frequently enough that I can remember the name. Next Gen TCG, that's right. Next Gen TCG with Tetra Ninja. Great content, but we don't get enough of it. Kevin Clear was checking in 69 minutes before we went live. We've got Ponga pumping, FOMOing. That is kind of the sentiment. That is the broader sentiment of the Pokemon market right now. It's crazy. I've been in the Pokemon market for the past 10 years. I've been in since 2014. I know many people who have been in it continuously longer than I have. But I think I've been in it continuously 10 years now. Longer than the majority who will be watching this live stream tonight. Longer than the majority of people interacting in the Pokemon market today. And it's just crazy. The ebbs and flows, how many times we see $80, $90 booster boxes shipped on eBay. We see the sentiments low after Pokemon beats down a set with print run after print run and reprints and restocks and whatever. And then there's these other times where reprint, restock be damned. You've got evolutions, evolving skies marching up to $900 a box. You've got a set that hasn't even properly come out yet. It comes out Friday, Surging Sparks, doing 160 on TCG Player. Absolutely crazy things going on in this market. But we've seen it before. We've seen the ebbs and the flows, the amount of times, like just in the past couple years, past few years. I sold my allocation of Battle Styles at 150 a box. If I wanted to, I could sell my whole allocation of Surging Sparks right now at 150 plus a box. Vivid Voltage went to $300 or whatever it was before the first reprint. And now it sits at sub 150 3 years later. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. Rudy hath spoken the truth today. I listened to his video earlier, just quite recently. And yeah, he said quite similar to what I just said, I think, for a recap. I listen on 2X. I don't pay super close attention, but it was the video I expected to come from him. How's it going, Pokey Chef? We got the pinched fingers in the chat. We got Gym Leader Pepe. We got Sky That One Guy. Checks Collects. Old Man Ketchum. Tell Nick I said what up. Yes, Zach, please tell Nick and tell eBay Live, everyone on Catch 'em All Collectibles YouTube live stream said hi. Also, though, we do have, I got to shout out my boy PK, one of my 2 live streamers. So Ponga will be live tomorrow night. I am very hopeful that Ponga on Fanatics Collect will have Surging Sparks available. I priority mail shipped it, so let me give a little bit of a Surging Sparks update. I have a pallet coming tomorrow. The pallet coming tomorrow is quite unfortunate because it's tomorrow. It's the day before release, and I have a streamer that lives. I have 2 streamers that live in different states from me, and it takes a couple days to get stuff. Unless you want to pay overnight express, expedited delivery would be very expensive on packs. But thankfully, pallet 1 of 2 from a different distributor came on Tuesday. So first thing I did was Tuesday, same day. Instead of breaking down product and getting out the loose packs to Ponga and PK, I actually sent 4 cases of Surging Sparks to Ponga, and I sent 4 cases of Surging Sparks to PK. Today, this morning, I broke down, actually last night and this morning, I broke down 120 ETBs, and I sent them 1,080 loose packs, I believe that would be. So, yeah, they're going to have plenty of Surging for the coming days and weeks, and I will refuel them if and when needed. When pallet 2 comes in, I'll have a bunch more product. But for those keeping score at home that remember my recent video, 38 cases is what I started with. 8 cases went to live streamers. So they will be sold live when people buy, if people buy, which I imagine they will. So I'm down to 30. 4 went to the pallet, locked away until 2030. So now I'm down to 26. I believe I have 2 or 4 listed on eBay at like 1,050 to 1,100 a piece. Kind of more as I said in one of my videos recently, kind of as a market indicator more than anything. So like if the price goes down from here, those won't even sell. If those sell, that means the price is like upward. I'll take a peek at what the price is doing. I might pop up a couple more. If this box is $200 by Christmas, if this box is $300 by the spring, I won't have much left aside from the 4 on the pallet. I will sell most of them. So people ask me, and what I said, no, I didn't say it in my title, but like, I guess, what am I doing with Surging Sparks? I am selling part of it now, quickly, due to live streaming. And then the other stuff, I'm playing it by ear. I will slowly drip it out over the winter and the spring if it holds where it's at. If it goes down a bunch, I'll probably just keep dripping it out even slower. But if it goes up a bunch, there's a decent chance I'll sell down to all but like that 4 cases I have on my pallet. So yeah, we'll see. I'll find a way to rent, no worries, absolutely. Do you have a recommendation for cardboard insert product for shipping slabs and bubble mailers? Yes, so it's actually linked on my website. I need to be better about like updating my website. I think the link is active, but it is I forget what the size is. Maybe 5.5. I actually have a tape measure here for when I'm doing shipments. So it is 5.5 inches by 7 inches. It's 5.5 inches by 7 inches. And if you take a slab, I've got some magic slabs here for one of my consigners. You fold it around it, and it's nice. Honestly, it's probably overkill for the vast majority of stuff, but anytime I ship a slab, I wrap it in one of these, and then it goes double bubble. It goes into a quad 0 and a double 0 bubble mailer. Those are all affiliate linked on my website if you are interested in seeing. Chex wants to know when Retro's going live next. I was just talking to Retro earlier. He said he'll be live next week. He said in the not too distant future, hopefully, we will get more regular YouTube content out of him. So hopefully that is the case, but we will see. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I love consistency. I try to be very consistent myself, and I very much appreciate those of I appreciate any content that is made because I have the option to consume it or not at my leisure, which is great. But the easiest stuff to consume long term for me is the long form content that is consistently there. Like I'm live. I'm not like, shout out PK. PK is actually live like tomorrow night. He'll be live tomorrow night at 9:15. I think he shifted the time a couple times this year, but he's been live every Thursday. My lives are less regular. Sometimes I'm Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I'm live every week. I just can't hammer down like one singular time to go live. I would like to be able to do that next year, but it's just tough. Maybe I'll do it though next year. Maybe we'll see if that can happen. But anyways, yeah, consistent content is great. I post a video every Monday at 1 p.m. Kevin Clear says, do you think the stock market and crypto market could be looking more attractive than TCG market now? I have always thought they are looking more attractive for long-term investing than the TCG market. I believe the TCG market is significantly more attractive. Short-term arbitrage, short-term active flipping, short-term speculation, short-term flipping, scalping, whatever you want to call it. I believe, yeah, I do active stuff in cardboard, and I do passive stuff, investing for 20 plus year stuff in traditional markets. And I do that in crypto too, which is a non-traditional market. But the some amount of the Bitcoin I hold, I never want to go below like 1 Bitcoin. I own the most Bitcoin I've ever owned. Transparency Dan coming through. Sometimes I won't say exactly how many I have because I don't remember, but it is less than 2, and it is a fair bit more than 1. So it's not too far off 2. I don't remember exactly. I've never owned 2 entire Bitcoins, as sad as that is. Back when it was $200, I put like $50 in, and when it went to 1,000, I put another few $100 in, and I slowly got to where I had like over a Bitcoin. And when it goes high, I sell some completely by feel, and when it goes low, I buy some back completely by feel. So all the money I have in Bitcoin is house money. I've pulled out more than I put in originally. It's all house money. I've pulled out like a few grand worth, maybe even 5 figures worth, low 5 figures worth over the years. But I will never, or at least I plan to never, if it goes to $1 million within 3 months, I will probably sell it all. And maybe I'll sell too soon. Maybe it'll go to 10 million. I doubt it. But like, I never want to go below a Bitcoin unless it really makes sense to go. So yeah, the way, again, this is not like, don't copy Dan, don't follow Dan. This is just what Dan is doing with Bitcoin. I have a little bit of Ethereum, significantly less in dollar-wise, more quantity-wise because it's so much cheaper. But yeah, I'm not like semi-active. I guess I might trade Bitcoin 2 or 3 times a year. When it feels high, I sell a little, but never below 1. And when it feels low, I buy more back in as long as it's lower than the point at which I sold. And as long as I'm not putting more money in than I had taken out prior. So yeah, that's how I play with that. Lots of buckets, spread it out. There is a little bit of a crypto bucket, yes. I invested a good bit in 2020 and 2021. Mostly collector's boxes or blisters. It wasn't until I went to style that I realized how much of my gains get eaten up by sales tax, shipping, and fees. Yeah, when you went to sell, it must have been a typo. But I mentioned that in my video. So in my pallet video, I think I still have it here. So yeah, in my pallet video, in the past 6 months, my pallet is up 20%. But if I were to sell all that today, it would be a wash. I mean, it's phenomenal. For my pallet, mine and my dad's pallet of Pokemon to go up 20% in 6 months is phenomenal. Far exceeding the expectations that I set out for it, which is a constant theme when I'm investing in Pokemon. But it still would require a large amount of labor. It would require like a decent amount of work to get that sold to just break even. Whereas my S&P 500 is up 14%. I could sell multi 6 figures worth of S&P 500 with a single click. I mean, if I had it, which I don't have it, I could sell multi 7 figure, multi 8 figure worth of S&P 500 with a single click. And the market wouldn't feel it. The market would be like, did anything happen? Did you actually sell that? It would just get gobbled up by some high frequency trade algorithm, some market maker. It would just be nothing. So that starts mattering. It might not matter if you're investing in Pokemon, and everyone starts somewhere. By no means am I like trying to talk down or belittle anyone investing, working with less money, but everyone starts somewhere. If you're investing 2 figures, $90. If you're investing 3 figures, $100, $900, 4 or 5 figures even, Pokemon can fit pretty tightly in a closet, on a shelf somewhere. Storage is not of major concern, nor is selling. You can email your friendly local or not local Catch 'em all collectibles on YouTube, and he will likely make you an offer somewhere between 75 and 85% for your sealed product investments, depending on what you have, depending on what he has at the time, depending on his cash flow at the time. And you can get an offer for 75 to 85%, no hassle, more than just clicking a button. But you ship everything to my P.O. box, and I pay you out in PayPal Friends and Family. I pay you out with a wire. I pay you out with crypto. However you want to be paid out. So that option exists there. But if or when you ever get to the levels that you are working with 6, 7, 8 figures of capital, I'm not there yet with the 7 and 8 figures. But if you ever do get there, it does become more of a concern, more of a consideration on how will you actually move this stuff. You will be selling, competing against yourself as you, like, if you had 2 pallets of team up to move. I'm not saying you couldn't move them. The market would want them, but they would be like, whoa, take it easy, slow down. I don't have millions of dollars on hand to buy this. Random streamer that you're talking to, Catch 'em all collectibles that you're talking to. I can't buy 2 pallets of team up all at once. So it becomes a consideration. It becomes harder to move. You're working against yourself as you're selling stuff, like downward pressure on your own price. And then the fees and things like that. And you're likely just going to take a 10 to 20% haircut. Assume you'll get 80 to 90% after all fees and everything. Mostly best case scenario. Sometimes you can work out a deal, an optimal deal where you work with cash locally. Maybe somebody wants the stuff anyways. Maybe they're paying 95% if you're lucky. So 5 to 20%. Whereas with crypto, traditional stuff, you're clicking a button and you're paying fractions of a percent, and it's so much quicker, easier, liquid, all that stuff. Classic collection, a good buy at 200 or a pastel. Are you talking about the TCG Classic? I actually noticed recently. Let me pull up my distributor. Assuming you're talking about TCG Classic, I saw my distributor, one of my distributors, actually put it on sale recently. I've not bought any in a while, but one distributor I can get it for $205. I need to see if there's a breakdown play there still. I feel like there is at that price. I might buy a handful of them just to break down, have some of the singles for streams, whatever. Maybe I don't know what it would break down to on TCG Player, but maybe I noticed that when I was going through the Pokemon listings on my one distributor the other day, and it's like, there might be something there. Because I think as of a few weeks ago, it was like 220, 230, and now it went down almost 10% further. So, yeah. PK is live every day, as a matter of fact, when you count between live streaming and live streaming on Fanatics. And I do need to do a little bit of a shameless self-promotion here. So if you are a Pokemon investor, if you are a Pokemon scalper, flipper, collector, whatever you are, and you are not on Fanatics Live, if one of my mods could link, maybe one of my mods could link below the referral link. It is a referral link. If you use it and you are new to the Fanatics ecosystem, you will get $25 of free Pokemon product. You can go in on tomorrow night. You can go in. Pongo will be live tomorrow night. You can get $25 free with signing up through the link. Before you get the free 25 though, get the free 20. So free $45. I say free. You do have to pay shipping for $5. You do have to pay sales tax. So for $5 or $6, you will get $50 worth of Pokemon product for free. Whether you're collecting, whether you're investing, whatever you're doing, that makes sense to do. That makes good sense to do. So if you are not yet on Fanatics, go check out Ponga, go check out PK, use the referral link that hopefully someone will link for me. If not, I can probably pull it off my link tree in just a second too. Let me see if I can get that pulled. I need to copy the link. Okay, there we go. So I posted it there. So if anyone wants to get $50 in Pokemon stuff for $5 or $6, have at it. There's your link right there. PK is live as we speak. So maybe you're watching on your desktop, pull up your phone, use that link, bada bing, bada boom. You get a 90% discount on $50 worth of Pokemon product. So yeah, little bit of plug there that I've got to do because it's a win-win for both of us. But let's continue on there. Retro did drop a video today. I appreciated it very much. Nice to see what he does day to day. So go check that out if you haven't. Here we go. So we got a would you rather question right here. If you had to choose, Kevo says, if you had to choose, would you pick prismatic cases of ETBs or booster bundles? I would go with the cheaper per pack price. I don't know what your prices you'll be getting them at are. I would go whatever gets you the packs cheaper. I want to know. I want to get the most packs for my dollars. Honestly, a lot of this stuff comes with so much error in it that I break it down to just the raw packs. A lot of times the raw packs perform quite well. Sometimes there is a sealed product premium, and in hindsight, it's like, oh man, I wish I didn't break down everything. But generally speaking, the loose packs do really well too. For the streaming circumstances, like I'll be breaking down a lot of it, shipping loose packs to Ponga, shipping loose packs to PK, and that's the route that I'd go anyways. So yeah, my answer would just simply be, whichever one gets you the packs in your hands cheaper is the route that I would go personally. I got 3 cases of Surging Sparks for 1,049 AUD each, 690 USD. I was expecting the store to cancel, but I got the shipping notification today, winning. So whoever you bought that from, props to them. They, one, I guess I'll use this to do my little mini rant on pre-orders. I don't like pre-orders. They feel like so often it's like a win-lose situation. It's like somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. If the price goes down, the store wins, the consumer loses, and some amount of, I don't agree with their morals, I don't agree with their honor if they were to do something like this. Like if you pre-order a product and you cancel if it goes down and you keep it if it goes up, you're just as bad as the stores who cancel if the price goes up and keep it if the price goes down. So the amount of times that I've seen people like, oh man, all my pre-orders got canceled for XYZ. This sucks. I can't believe that scammy store. I'm on your side. I agree with you, but don't be a hypocrite and don't cancel when you pre-order something at $110 a box and it goes down to $90 a box by the time it releases. So in my opinion, that goes both ways. And historically speaking, we've seen both sides of it. We've seen both sides of it, but props to that store for not being tempted by that 690 works out to 115 a box. So they could have gotten an extra $50 a box, at least in USD, United States pricing. I don't know if the local price in Australia differs, but per like what our side of the pond is, 3 cases. So 3 cases, say, I mean, you're talking 400 a case, like over $1,000, and you're probably one of multiple that pre-ordered. So they were faced with the potential for getting thousands of dollars more for not ordering their, and that would have been short-sighted. That would have been short-term gain, long-term pain, turning what were likely former loyal customers into disloyal customers. But yeah, that's my thoughts on pre-orders. I don't do pre-orders. There are lots of pros to them from a business side, where you are getting money up front, you are guaranteeing your margin, you're locking it in. Like today, SV09 went on pre-order on Safari Zone. And generally speaking, I don't buy from Safari Zone because I have my own wholesale connections. I have 2 distributors. But as I just was talking about 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, whenever it was, I said that I had 1 pallet come in Tuesday, and I rushed that product to PK and Ponga. And I paid, like, especially getting it to Ponga, because Ponga's further away, I paid $4 per box. I paid $100 to ship 4 cases to Ponga so that he hopefully has it for tomorrow night for streaming. So I pay $92.50 at my distributor, and then I pay a 2% credit card fee, 3% credit card fee that gets washed by the rewards, basically. But then I paid $4 a box to ship them to Ponga. So all in, I'm in my boxes that I shipped to Ponga of Surging Sparks for like 97 a box, almost. 97 a box. Plus, I have to physically handle them. If I buy through Safari Zone, I pay with a credit card. I don't pay credit card fees. I actually get 2% credit card rewards that don't have to offset any fee. I'm getting $100 minus 2%. I'm getting $98 a box shipped to my streamers to their door. My distributors won't ship to my streamers' doors. So I actually, moving ahead, I will probably be buying. It actually was annoying. I bought 2 cases to ship to PK, and in the time that I was going to check out to buy Topanga, they sold out. So I only got half of the orders in that I wanted to. I didn't want to buy a ton of it because I figured that I would get the initial release day stuff from Safari Zone, and then I will do my own stuff that I get moving ahead after that for all supplemental streams after the initial launch streams. But yeah, that's interesting. But part of the reason that I don't do pre-orders is because I don't like the prospect. Well, there's multiple angles. Say my distributor gets me stuff late for whatever reason. Say something happens and the truck breaks down on the way to me with my pallet and I can't get it out to my customers on release day. I don't like dealing with that. I don't like selling it till I have it in hand. Whether the price moves up or down and somebody has to win, somebody has to lose, or whether the product somehow gets delayed. Or say maybe I'm traveling. Say I'm delaying it for some reason. Say there's a Collecticon the week of release, my pallet doesn't come till Thursday, and I'm gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Collecticon or something. I just don't like selling product before I have it. I don't list it until I physically have it in hand. How many Metazoo NFTs do I have? I saw Retro mention that he has one. I don't know if you were asking me or Retro, but I have a lot of them. I have a complete set of the tokens. I have a bunch of the PFPs. We don't need to talk too much more about that, but I have a lot of them. If I told you I bought 15 cases today of SV09 unknown set, would you judge me? I would judge you positively. I would drop you a rocket emoji, and I would say congratulations on your likely successful investment, because it is the wild market right now. I don't know if it was publicly stated somewhere, but I feel like it had to be, because Ponga mentioned to me. I think she mentioned on Facebook somewhere, Safari Zone, 1,800 cases at, no, 1,800 boxes, sorry. I think it was 1,800 boxes. 1,800 boxes at $100 a box. So $180,000 worth of product sold out within minutes. And the nice thing about that for the store is, say the set goes down in the coming weeks, months. Say it doesn't even go down. They have the money up front. They can pay their distributor. They can pay their distributor invoice with our money. I'm in on that pre-order too, so they can pay the distributor pre-order with our money, and they can just make fixed known margin. I don't know what they pay for their boxes. A lot less than me probably. I paid $92.50. I could not sell a box even on my own website profitably for $100. So they're paying less than I am. I don't know what they pay. Maybe $85. No idea. That's a guess. But they just made a known fixed margin up front, done and over with, which is nice. We got a scalper in here. My channel is friendly to collectors, investors, scalpers, flippers, the truest of true collectors, the paper hands, diamond hands, whatever you are, you're welcome in here to hang out, talk Pokemon. We all have this overlapping interest in Pokemon, and I'm here for it. Whatever way you engage with it, as long as it's, to me, as long as it's honest, moral, legal, all that good stuff. And some people would say scalping, think of the children, yada yada. I've made my thoughts known on that. None of these are needed goods. These are all luxury goods. These are all things that nobody needs. So it's like people buy at their own risk, and then they intend to sell for profit to other people. If the other people don't buy from them, they stand to lose their money, and sometimes they do. So it's like, yeah, whatever. Pedro's Lucario says, want to get into investing? Should I start with a booster box / case of each set to hold? I would say whatever you want to. Like, that's a pretty common and reasonable way to start. Biggest thing I'll always say, you said the I word, you said investing. I would say that consider your opportunity cost. So as long as your opportunity cost allows for it, I mean, just doing the math quickly, say there are 4 mainer sets per year, which approximately there are. That's $600 per release. Say $2,500. Round up a little bit. You have $2,500 a year to allocate to Pokemon, and what is your opportunity cost to do so? Are you carrying it on a 30% credit card, or do you have all your other stuff taken care of, and this is just play money? This is fun money that would otherwise be spent on a vacation, at the bar, out at a restaurant, whatever it may be. But yeah, I started years ago. I used to do a couple boxes of every set, and then I went to a case of every set. Then I went to 2 cases of every set. These days I target about 20 cases of every set. So yeah, like, you are starting or thinking about starting where I was early on in my journey, right? So not only do I think it's a reasonable thing to do, given the right circumstances for you, it is something I did myself. So yeah. Do we know if Fanatics gift cards work on Fanatics Live? Saw Rakuten was doing 15% back on them. L-Dubs, hit me up. I'm actually buying some cards from you. I will Venmo you money to try it out. Buy $25 on there, and if it works or doesn't work, I guess either way, I just want to know. I want to know so I can let people know. Go buy one for $25. I'll Venmo you after this, or I will cash out whatever you've got. And I'm curious now, if you could follow up within this live stream, that would be great. That way I can plug that. Maybe you got a Rakuten link you can do to get some affiliate link money going for yourself there. But that'd be crazy. If you can get the $45, catch them 20, the affiliate link, if you can get all that stuff, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to go get some free products, some free investments, some free collections, whatever you're after. Was there any fix for the issue of people who signed up and didn't get the $25? So A lot of the people who signed up and didn't get the $25, they already had a Fanatics auction account, or they already had a Fanatics merch account. So I'm wearing a Jets shirt. Jets, Mets, Rangers, basketball, any major sports league, Fanatics owns all the licenses for their merch. So if you've bought any merch, you do not qualify for the $25 because you are in the Fanatics ecosystem. But if that is not the case for you, send an email to Fanatics support. They've been doing it like one by one. They've manually intervened and given the $25 credit to those who should have gotten it but didn't. So yeah, everything I've heard, they've been great with getting people the $25 credits who didn't get it that should have. But many people, I think, didn't realize that they didn't qualify for it. But even if you do have, say you do have a Fanatics account, the code CATCHEM20 will still work. So even if you don't have a brand new account, unfortunately, the $25 referral link, 25 that comes to me, 25 that goes to you, that one won't work if you've bought this stuff before. Or use a different email. If you haven't, you could use a different email, create a new account. They do tie their accounts, though, to US-based cell phone numbers, so you might not even be able to create a new account. You will likely only be able to have one account within the ecosystem. But yeah, use that link for 25. Use code CATCHEM20 for an additional 20. If you're a PSA member, not everyone in here, but many people in here are PSA members. If you are a member, an annual member of the low tier, $150 per year with PSA, you get a $60 code. Check your email. Look up Fanatics Live PSA code or whatever, and then use that, and $60. If you're the $200 tier and you have like card ladder and all that, you will get $120. So you could have anywhere between $45 and $165 free dollars waiting for you over on Fanatics, which, well, not free. Again, you have to pay $5 for the shipping and then sales tax on top of that. But it's great. Best way to store boxes, ETBs, cases. I just use shelving. I use the shelving, the semi-industrial looking shelving. It's like steel legs and frame and stuff, and then it's just like plywood basically. There's one that are like steel wire, like steel mesh, and then there are ones that are like plywood or like more like particle board. I have the cheaper ones. In hindsight, I would have gone back and gotten better ones, knowing how much product I'm moving through right now. But I store some of it on a pallet. Check out my recent video, literally stored on a pallet in a climate controlled area, wrapped and protected from like rodents and things like that. And then some amount I store on shelves that you can buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Amazon, wherever you would buy your shelves from. And other than that, I've seen the stereotypical modern SEAL investor storing it under their bed, storing it in their closet. They've got a spare bedroom that they're storing it in. All these things, as long as it's climate controlled and as long as you're not going to have like mice chewing into there in the winter if it's getting cold or something. Like, don't have them somewhere not climate controlled whatsoever. Humidity can be a beast. Critters can be a beast too. So watch out for that. At what price would you stop stocking up on Sturgeon Sparks? Anything below 170. So me personally, I bought 38 cases at $92.50 a box. I'm not buying any from the secondary market. Aside from, say someone reached out to me, say I was running light. Like right now I'm pretty heavy on Surging Sparks. I'm not even going to buy that at 80%. If you reach out to me and you want to sell me Surging Sparks, I'm not a buyer at 80%. I'm sitting on 30 plus cases still. But if in 6 months it's still 160, 170, if there's no sign of a reprint in sight, if I don't hear anything from my distributors and I'm running low, I would start buying that set 70 to 80% of market. I would not though. I've never historically paid full market price within -2 days. Literally this set is -2 days old. I'm not going to buy from the open market when I haven't even had my full allocation hit. My one distributor that I bought 18 cases from hit yesterday. And the one that I bought 20 cases from hits tomorrow. So I've one pallet from one pallet from the other, because the ETBs and the other things came with it too. But yeah. So I personally am not buying at 170. I stopped buying a month and a half ago. Whenever my allocations went in, whenever all that happened, like I'm only buying wholesale. I am buying through a relationship that I've had over a decade now, going on a decade now, with one of my distributors, and then the other one several years now. So outside of a cash buffer, what bull run strategy will keep you cooking if Pokemon slows down a bit? What bull run strategy? I mean, right now my two main focuses are feeding the Fanatics Collect, feeding the consignments, all that stuff, feeding my own grading plays. I'm actually consigning a little bit with James, Z&G Emporium as well, for eBay, for what works best on eBay. A lot of stuff does work really well on Fanatics Collect. If you are interested in consigning, if you want to sell your stuff on Fanatics Collect for cheaper than you can yourself, cheaper than you can directly, items that sell for more than $2,500 sale price, you will net out 95% of the sale price if it goes over $2,400. And honestly, that's the high end is what does best on Fanatics. Unfortunately, they are no longer taking sealed as we speak. That was actually really nice when they were taking sealed. I can't imagine the amount of Evolving Skies cases I'd be churning through right now for consigners if they still took that. But yeah, so I'm feeding the live streams and I'm feeding the Fanatics Collect, and I'm doing my typical graded edge, grading plays, buying collections, all that stuff. All those things are going on. I'm buying a little more cautiously if people approach me with Bubble Mews. Sorry, Boom Mews. These are not Bubble Mews. These are Boom Mews. We don't like to use that other B word. But yeah, I don't know if I fully understood the way you were asking the question, but hopefully that satisfies. Rudy on PokeFlips 2025. He did comment on my video on Monday, so it's kind of funny. I always answer my questions on mobile. I never answer comments on YouTube, on desktop on YouTube. I always answer them on mobile, and his username showed up as Alpha Investment 69, and I saw that it had the same avatar as Rudy does. But I'm thinking, like, Alpha Investment 69, oh, this is just a parody account, whatever, and they just copied his avatar. It was actually Rudy. He said something like, he actually said like a pretty well thought out comment, just like saying that he appreciated the video. It wasn't like a meme comment at all. I just thought it was a meme account. So I'm like, oh, thank you, Alpha Investment 69. And then he replied, and he laughed. He's like, haha, I actually did watch through the whole video. Like, great video. That surprised me. That really surprised me. I think 35 minutes into a 40-minute video, I said something about dropping like a money bag emote, and Rudy dropped the money bag emote or whatever. Like, it actually shocked me that the YouTube algorithm would have fed him one of my videos. That's pretty crazy. And then the fact that he goes out of his way to comment on that. That was, for little old antiviral Dan with 5,000 whatever subscribers I have, that was that was a highlight of my YouTube career. So, I mean, he's commenting on my channel. Maybe next step is PokeFlips. I would love it if Rudy would go on other people's channels and do long-form content. I love his content. His long-form content is the best content. But I've never seen him on another channel, barring like Tavis King or some of his buddies, Open Boosters, those guys, where he does like product openings with, and he does those like things like That 70s Show where they spin the camera around and that's mostly on his channel though too. But I would love to do a collab with him. I don't think he ever would though. That would be amazing if he did though. Keep booming and have him for the Xmas special. That would be amazing. Did you grade a handful of Roaring Moons with your gray felt hat Pikas? Trying to guess whether the PSA 9 Pika I bought from ZNG was yours. I have not sold any PSA 9 gray felt hat Pikachus. Mine are not back from grading yet. They're all out at grading still. Which prismatic ETB do you think is a better long-term hold? I was thinking I would buy a few on release to hold like you do with your pals. Are you talking about like PC versus regular? I mean, Pokemon Center, the price is crazy. It could go up from here. No idea. It could get restocked from here. No idea. If I had pre-orders that people were telling me to do and I didn't do, but if I had pre-orders that I placed at 60 a piece and they doubled and they were selling at 120 a piece, I would look at my business's cash flow, and if I didn't need the money, I might sit on them. But I would heavily lean towards selling those, taking the double up, taking the like bird in the hand, and it might do more later, but I would plow those gains into something else. That's the route that I would generally take. When something doubles instantly, there are historical times where it goes up from there, but more often than not, it gets restocked, it gets reprinted, or it stagnates, it flattens out, it plateaus. So you can always be guessing like, oh, what if I did this and like it could go up. But if you just hold everything forever and you don't have more continual cash flow coming in, then you're going to be stuck with what you're stuck with, and you can't really like that's one of those opportunities where I think you could just sell, take the bird in the hand, and plow it into something else that you're quite confident in when you get a double up that quickly. Oh, here we go. L-Dubs DM'd me. Appreciate you, L-Dubs. I think this is actually where I saw it. So it's Chase. It's not Rakuten. Chase allows you to redeem credit card points for 15% off Fanatics gift cards. I'll try it and see if it works. So yeah, try with like, if you can. Try it with like 20. I mean, it looks like you can do it with $5. So if you can do it with $5 worth, try it with that. Go buy a single from PK, and I'll shoot you $5, $10 on Venmo for trying, because I'm interested to see if that works. Appreciate you, L-dubs. Josco, just stonk 'em, Josco. How's it going, Steve's Collectibles? Do what you can afford, says Spencer. I like that. Buy what feels cheap within your own means. Absolutely. Whether you're an investor, collector, even if you're a dealer, even if you're a reseller, you need to keep an eye on cash flow. You need to keep an eye on opportunity cost. You need to make sure you're doing things reasonably and sustainably for your situation. There are times historically where you could theoretically put stuff on a 30% credit card and it could pan out and you might make money. But my risk tolerance, it does not allow for that. Some people do, and I guess bless them when it works out. RCS bless them, bless the hobby when it works out. But it's not for me. The opportunity cost, the risk-adjusted returns, none of that is panning out in your favor long term on across like a large number of plays. That will just not work out well if you're fighting an uphill battle of 30% interest rates. Yo, Dan, is there anything current you're not acquiring, and why not? Yeah, I'm not buying. If it has gone up 50% in the past month, I'm not acquiring it. I'm not acquiring new Ultramodern Sealed at market prices either. I'm buying stuff at 80% likely, generally. I'm buying stuff that I have an advantage on, generally. I buy stuff wholesale. I buy stuff at some percent of market. I try to not buy from the open market at full market price. There are so many opportunities. There are so many deals to be had at sub 100% market that, aside from when I'm doing like a graded edge play, if I want to go and I want to buy, like this was one of the cards that I targeted a few months ago, and I bought like dozens of them, and it panned out because I got a bunch of 10s. The price went up crazy too, just on the raw card in the meantime. But I'm not acquiring anything at full market, to speak of. So when you watch my palette video, when you watch my investing video talking about investing in Pokemon, I'm not buying in at full market. I'm not buying in at full market plus sales tax. I'm not buying in at full market plus sales tax and paying interest on a credit card. I am buying in through my distributor at $92.50 for 38 cases of Surging Sparks. I'm buying from some amount of viewers that want to sell at 80, 85%, depending on what they're selling, 70, 75%, depending on what they're selling. I am, and generally speaking, I could spend $200,000-$300,000 a month, which is like my entire company's cash flow or more, on some percent of full retail price. So yeah, I'm not acquiring anything at full retail, anything, like almost anything, unless it's a graded play, unless it's something that I'm going to get margin out in another way. I buy below market, sell at market is the vast majority of what I do. It allowed me to do two accounts on Fanatics, but did not like the third. I believe in sealed product more, bought into Cosmic Eclipse at release, but haven't invested big numbers into Pokemon awaiting a crash in stocks. Nothing reasonable to buy in stocks right now. So I will say, this is not telling you to buy, but the S&P 500, the Dow, they have spent the majority of their life cycles at all-time highs. Just by nature of what they have done, increasing roughly 7 to 10% per year, they are almost always at all-time highs. So the amount of times that I've heard people waiting to go in after a crash. And you could say the same thing in Pokemon. Some amount of people wait to get into a card, a spec on a card, or a spec on a box, an investment in a box. I'm going to wait until it goes down. It might triple before it goes down 40%. The stock market has a history of going down 40%, like probably at least once every 10 years or so, going down 40% within a year. But if it triples before it does that, you're going to be buying in more than if you just bought in today. I'm very much time in the market versus timing the market when it comes to traditional investments. I am very much just set it and forget it. Buy in through your employer match. Buy in through your employer like paycheck contribution, payroll deduction. That's the route that I take. I'm not telling anyone they have to do that or whatever, but like that's just what I've always done and why I've always done that. You have to store it in the bathroom like Rudy. Ain't no way them pellets actually protected from them New York rats. What New York City might have for rats, we do not have where I live, I promise. I should store them in the lawnmower bags. What is the downside of a 401k loan at 10.25% rate? I can't see the downside with the rocket we're strapped on. I'm assuming this is mostly tongue-in-cheek, but the downside of a 401k loan, yes, you do pay the interest back to yourself, generally speaking, from the way that I understand, but you're pulling it out of the market. The market, like, if you took a 401k loan on January 1st this year, you are down 20%. You missed 20% in gains. Say you took a $100,000 401k loan on January 1st, and you've only paid back 20 grand of it or so. You have 80 grand left to pay. You missed a 20% gain on that 80 grand, right? And it could have gone the other way, blah, blah, blah. But like historically speaking, it's just something I will never do, something I could never like advocate people doing, 401k loans or anything else like that, especially to put them into Pokemon. If you're talking about buying your first house, if you're talking about like certain singular once-off utility, like life expenses that bring you utility, there could be arguments to be made for exceptional cases. But cardboard, man, I shudder at the thought of that. Hills is at 145 Surging Sparks booster box and 355 ETB cases, not terrible. Only downside is you didn't do it sooner. Oh man. No, you click on his account. Actually, Retro. Shout out to Retro. So if you want to buy they're not always going to be the cheapest. But one thing I will tell you about _ retrospecs on Instagram, they will never be canceled. I've bought north of 6 figures, north of $100,000 of Japanese booster product through Retro at this point in time, probably nearing multi 6 figures by the time you account for all the Japanese singles that I bought from him, all the Japanese booster boxes I bought from him. Never have I had an order canceled. There are times where I've bought a box, bought a case, bought boxes, and 2 nights later, the price is up 10, 20%. You see all the Reddits, all the Discords, all the Facebooks. Oh my God, my order of 151 Japanese got canceled because it went up. They canceled it and they offered me at a higher price. Never going to happen with Retro. He at times will sell out. He only has a finite amount of stuff he can get through good sources that he's guaranteed to fulfill. But yeah, shout out to him because he was the one too who told me like, whoa, Rudy commented on your account. And I'm like, no way. No way it could have been. And I looked, you click on his account, it goes to the guy with like 500,000 subscribers, whatever he is. That was crazy. Rudy bought serialized Magic off Mason too. He's slowly joining the cabal. I mean, Rudy, I think he's mentioned he buys serialized Fab stuff, serialized Magic stuff lately. Obviously, he's I show that I'm walking the walk. My walk is not even a crawl. My walk is a hobbled crawl compared to the full-on sprint that Rudy is doing with his multi 8-figure position. I have a multi 6-figure position, so I am an order of magnitude below Rudy in what he's doing. But as I said earlier, we all start somewhere. Someone talking about buying a case of every set and putting it back. That's here, and then what I'm doing here is what Rudy is doing is through the ceiling. But yeah, we're all somewhere. We're all on our own thing, all on our own journey. Your live was on the homepage. I never watched your content before. That's awesome. That's awesome that the algorithm is pushing out my my content elsewhere. While I say that, if you are new here, if you are enjoying the conversation, if you want to have weekly live Q&As like this with someone who is in the Pokemon space, I am not cosplaying as a Pokemon investment YouTuber. I am doing this stuff day in and day out. It is my full-time job. I am doing multi 7 figures a year in sales through Fanatics Live, through Fanatics Collect, through eBay, through various consignment relationships with Z&G Emporium on eBay, through Troll and Toad Evo. I'm doing multi 7 figures a year in sales. So I've been there. I've done that for 10 years. I'm not Rudy's level. I am exactly what I am. Nothing more, nothing less. So if you are enjoying it and you are new here, feel free to hit that thumbs up so more people can be pulled in by the algorithm. And feel free to subscribe. I post videos every Monday and I'm live. Right now, I'm live every week. I usually do live once a week. Well, I do live 1 week on this channel. And then I have a podcast with my co-host, Old School Pokemon, who's been around similarly for over a decade. I've been around for a decade now, full-time for over 3 years. Nick has been around for over a decade and full-time for over 3 years. So, yeah, I do a podcast with him every other week, fortnightly, on PokeFlips. And then in between them, I do a live here every other week. Lately, though, I've been doing every week because the market's booming. There's a lot to talk about. Rudy might be watching right now. You never know. Rudy, Say hi if you are out there. We got a guy named Pooping Turtle 69 in chat, Rudy. Let us know if you're out there. We got everyone in here. Dan, it was actually not Rakuten. Okay, yeah, Chase. Appreciate you, L Dubs. I am falling a little bit behind chat. I've not been more than 10 minutes behind chat, though. I'm doing my best to keep up. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Nice to see you, Mimic Brew. It was very nice to meet you in Charlotte this year. I'm sure I will run into you again in the future. One thing I want to talk about at some point, maybe now is the time. I will try to catch up with chat more. At some point later, though, someone remind me. Collecticon Hype 2025. While I was at the wedding away this weekend in Vermont for the wedding, Collecticon dropped all their dates. They dropped all their dates for 2025. Maybe I can pull those up. Maybe we can talk about them, figure out which ones we're going to try to go to as a group. But I'll probably go to 2 to 4 of them, depending on how the year goes. There's also Worlds. There's also Front Row Card Show, Best Flip and Card Show. There's all these different conventions. What's the other one called? Pat Flynn's one. The Pocket Monster has Card Party. I will likely try to go to Card Party, Pacific Northwest, if that fits my schedule. But I'm so excited for 2025. All the sets I had in the thumbnail. We got the Rocket set. We got Prismatic. We got Surging Sparks happening right now. We've got SVO9, which everyone just pre-ordered today on Safari Zone, which we don't even know what it is. But it might be that trainer set. It might be the trainer set with like that Reshiram card that I saw shared in Discord earlier. Exciting times. Very exciting times. I sold my PC Prismatic pre-order case for $5.99. I could not resist. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. What do you think of buying Ace slabs to crack and regrade with PSA? Calculated risk because Ace is harsh on grading and cheaper, or a BS idea? I think it's a calculated risk. I think that generally speaking, and some people might not like this, but the numbers show that generally speaking, PSA is a relatively easy grader compared to most. PSA grades most cards easier than BGS or PSA. I don't know much about Ace. I've not seen them personally too much, but from what I've heard, they grade fairly hard. Just like PSA, they will overgrade cards from time to time. You might buy an Ace 9, Ace 10, and it ends up being a PSA 6. But you might buy a PSA 10, and it ends up being a PSA 6, if we want to be honest about it all. So I think there's something there. There could be something there. Slab optimizing between companies. Grade optimizing between companies. It's absolutely a thing. It's always been a thing. It will always be a thing. So as long as you know what you're getting into, there are times where you can buy an Ace 9, I'm sure, for less than the raw near mint card price. So you know you're getting like a relatively mint-ish example for sub near mint raw price. It's a reasonable play to me, depending what you're after exactly. What do you think about going to local card shows to try to sell sealed product, not having any singles or anything else? Yeah, I think some people do really well with it. It all depends. Local shows are going to inherently have wider variance, in my opinion, than a big national show. A big national show will get tens of thousands of people, or at least several thousand people through the door. You are more likely to run into more consumers that want what you're selling at a national convention, just inherently. But at a local, you might have 50 people walk by, or only 10 people walk by, or 500 people walk by. Like, I don't know the numbers of your local, but due to having less people walk by, the variance is going to be higher. That's just the way that it's going to go. But go try it. Like usually the cost is going to be a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, and $50, $100. Like usually the barrier to entry is quite low on locals, generally speaking, unless you're local to like some massive Chicago show or LA show or whatever, New York City show. If you're talking about like a local around me, I could probably do a local around me for a $50 table for a Saturday afternoon and try it out and see how it goes. That's what I would say. Hit the like button. Appreciate you, Super Brawly. Sell enough of your sealed to bring your cost basis down to 0 plus some profit and hide the rest is my plan. And the slab sales fund that. I try to keep it a circle. Yeah, I historically have done that from time to time. Say, like right now, again, I have 38 cases of surging. I have 8 sent to my live streamers. I have 4 long-term on my pallet. So I have 25-ish like left in play. If surging goes to $250 a box in the next 6 months, I will already probably have sold some. I will have sold some at $150 a box, sold some at $180 a box, sold some at $200 a box. I will probably sell the amount that I need to sell to have the rest just be free rolling on 8 cases or 10 cases, whatever it ends up being, and then be a lot more long term with those. But what I do though, as I said, I'm a 7-figure annual reseller. cash flow considerations are big. There might be times that someone comes up to me with a $50,000 collection. I might liquidate some amount of stuff that I intended to hold longer on a short-term basis due to an opportunity like that. If I have an opportunity to buy a 40K collection at 80% of market, I will liquidate something that I maybe hadn't planned otherwise. So it's all in flux. I'm very flexible with all of it. I'm not firm, concrete in any of my like plays. Aside from the pallet. The pallet is the one like experiment. The 2 pallets now, the second one underway, where I am forcing myself to be more rigid. I am forcing myself to hold minimum of 6 years regardless of what happens, as like a new experiment that I've never done. Thoughts on what grading company is best for Terrestrial Festival? Think I'm going to crack 1 to 2 cases of boxes and not sure where to grade for early market plays. I mean, if the quality's super high and you get that banger hit, it might be plus EV to try the black label. You might lose your money, but the upside is so high if it hits. The upside is so stupid. You talk about taking what could be a several $100 card and turning it into a $5,000 card, $3,000 to $10,000 card, depending on what the card is. It's like that play might be worthwhile. But 2 cases, you might not even hit the chase, right? You might not hit the chase. You might just be talking about having a handful of like the cheaper, less chase ones. So generally PSA, but fringe cases, you might go for the CGC Pristine or the Beckett Black Label to get those additional premiums. I just have to see the card to see what the percent chance was. There's a minimum in order to buy from Retro. Yes, I believe he does 20 box minimums for when you buy from him on Japanese boxes. I've done the math on 401k loans. It's really not that bad depending what you use it for. Only thing is that the interest you pay back is not tax deductible. It's like a 3% loss due to taxes each year, plus the opportunity cost of not having that money in the market. So in hindsight, if the market goes down 10% while your 401k loan is out, you feel smart. But historically speaking, more years are up than down. And there are some years where it is up 20, 25%, 30%. So generally speaking, I'm never going to personally do one. I would never advocate for someone to do one personally. We all do start somewhere. 20 bucks minimum usually. Thank you, Grimer, for the assist. He ain't watching. I was surprised Rudy watched my 40-minute Monday video. I don't know if he flips through live streams. He might be packing. Just earlier, I'm in his Patreon. Just earlier, I saw that so he is selling right now Weiss Love Live School Idol. I have no idea what that is, but he's selling that. He might just be on Patreon with a Pokemon Market live Q&A on the side and going through his Patreon messages, going through his emails, prepping the boxes for shipping, all that stuff. I don't know. What did I think of the Charlie H interview? So Charlie is the president of Metazoo. Charlie works for GameCubator Labs, and he did an interview recently with Nick Strength and Pokemon. I would highly advise anyone interested in Metazoo to go and watch that. Charlie is a very smart guy, very wise guy. I love talking with Charlie. I love that I'm friends with Charlie and get to talk with him a fair bit. I get to run into him a couple times a year at various conventions. And it's always fascinating to hear him talk about the cardboard hobby, the cardboard markets. And his 2+ hour conversation with Nick was no exception. I've been saying for a little while now that I'm looking forward to the future of Metazoo, and I've been pointing people towards the proper channels. This is the proper channel. The proper channel is when the president of Metazoo, Meta2, goes on and discusses the future. That is where you should get your information. I have no information towards what will be done. And Charlie had limited things that he could share, but he shared a fair bit. His limited amount that he could share ended up being a fair bit of new novel information. I do plan on returning to Metazoo Saturdays at some point relatively soon. Maybe this month, maybe within a few weeks, I will start doing Metazoo Saturday videos again. Maybe about once a month. I don't have a ton to say. Basically, all I would be doing would be like, hey, this stuff's coming soon, Q1 2025, as they posted over on GameCubator Labs, Rick Aarons. So I would just point people towards all that. I am following that myself. That is my information funnel for new information on Metazoo as well. So I'm super excited for all of it. PokeChef's excited for HomieCon. I already know no shot at a Boston Collecticon. I would bet, unfortunately, there was not a Boston Collecticon. So the closest to you in Boston would be the same as the closest to me in upstate New York. I'm near Syracuse. There are 2 in New Jersey, Edison, New Jersey, I believe it is. And, or maybe Edison is where the hotel is, and then it's something else for the actual convention center. I don't remember, but I think it might be Edison, New Jersey. Two of them there. There's a new one in Cleveland. And then there's like Richmond would probably be your next closest, I would think. And then Charlotte would be in that same vicinity as Richmond-ish. So those would be your closest options if you were in Boston. But Boston has like the best flipping card show. They have quite a those all summer long. And I'm sure they have a bunch of other ones. They have ones at like Fenway every so often. But let's see. Omicron dates dropping soon. Looking forward to hearing that. Yeah, I was just talking with Retro before I went live. I pre-ordered some cases of stuff for him to ship directly to Ponga and PK for having stuff at release of Terrestrial Festival. PSA is hard on vintage. Yes, they are, generally speaking. I know when I say PSA is generally an easier grader, there are caveats, there are disclaimers, there are exceptions. There are a lot of cards that will get CGC Pristines at times even, or CGC Gem Mint 10s that wouldn't get PSA Gem Mint 10s. But to be fair, as I always have to say this, there are hideous PSA 10s out there. There are hideous PSA 10s out there in the 2-cert era, in the 4-cert era, in the 6-cert era, in the 999-cert era. These companies are fallible. They are graded by humans. Even those companies. Shout out to the Green Shiz, Josh. He graded with tag, technology assisted graded by a robot. And he graded a card with a dent as like a tag 10. And then he made a video about it and it became this big thing. And he sent it back and then it got like an 8 or whatever it was. I don't remember what the final grade ended up being. But like, these companies are fallible. They are not perfect. They will make mistakes. So even though like people will trash on CGC. Oh, well that CGC Gem 10 used to be a PSA 9. I promise you, there are a lot of PSA 10s that used to be PSA 9s as well. Slab optimization, grade optimization is a thing that will always happen due to the inherent inconsistency with these grading card companies, not just PSA, all of them. I actually, it's underway right now, but I think I have a Poncho card. I have a Poncho Pikachu card, multi 4-figure card. I graded it a BGS 9.5. It was a quad plus 9.5, 0.5 away from a 10. I cracked it. I sent it back to BGS. It's now a BGS 10. It's not a black label. It could be though. If I graded it 10 more times, it would probably become a black label because it's super clean. And I knew it had a shot, but I didn't know for sure. And my gray felt hats that I'm doing, I have 18 of these out at BGS right now. 4 got 10s, 14 got 9.5s. I could crack out all 14 of those 9.5s. I'm quite confident all or at least a strong majority of those would get a PSA 10. Some amount might get a BGS 10. One might get a black label if you re-roll them. These companies are inconsistent. That's just a fact of the matter. I don't see a way to redeem the Fanatics gift card on live. It says they have to be redeemed at checkout, but checkout has no option for gift cards. I tried to redeem the code, but no go. So maybe that's only for Fanatics merch. 15% discount would be massive. If you could use that, try Fanatics Collect. Maybe you could do that on Fanatics Collect. I would lean towards no. Their margins on stuff like this is significantly higher. So doing a deal where it's like a 15% discount, that makes sense. It's probably just for the merch shops. But I appreciate you trying, L-Dubs. Thank you. Oh no. Oh no. We got Radar in here calling me out. I will defend myself here. So Radar's comment is fully true and fully fair. And I appreciate the call out. So he says, I'm a little behind, but I love this. I don't buy at market with tax and shipping. I only buy wholesale. Rewind to Chicago. Hey, Radar, let's buy these Van Gogh Pikas above market. So what Radar and I did, we bought a full sealed case, a sealed distributor case of 400 gray felt hat Pikachus. At the time, the sealed price was approximately 110 on eBay. Bless the market, bless the hobby. They're up 20% now, 20%-ish. But the main reason that I could justify that, just like I do when I go on to TCG Player and I buy like 50 of a card at full market, I am making a different play. I'm making a play to grade and to increase the value. And Radar knows the answer to this, but he's poking fun, which I appreciate because it is a good call out. But yeah, I bought this because I went to Chicago in Target of like 100 plus of these. 400 was a lot, but I split it with John, so I got 200. He got 200. But the only way to get a known unsearched Greyfell Hat Pikachu is to buy in a sealed case. Because the issue with it, I have the box right in front of me. They sell them in a box like this that comes with 25. And thank you, Pokemon. You sealed it on one side. Tamper-proof seal. You couldn't get into that side without ripping it. This side's wide open. This side, you just open it up. Like, why is that a thing? Why would they not have sealed it on both sides, tamper sealed? If I could have bought 4 of these or 8 of these or something, I would have done that. But the only way to get, and John knows this. This was the whole crux of our play, is that we're buying these. We're gonna sift through them ourselves. We're gonna sell the misses sealed, and we're gonna grade the ones that are hits. We're gonna grade the ones that are gradable, and try to get a black label and try to get a bunch of PSA 10s and make a big margin. So yeah, so the exception to when I buy at market or slightly above market is if there is a graded play ingrained in there. But generally speaking, one great thing about buying big collections, there have been times historically where I've bought a big collection at 80% market and half the cards I get in it are gradable. They might be gradable at the same rate that they would be buying from TCG Player. They might be gradable at a higher rate than if I bought from TCG Player. So yeah, it is the exception when I buy at full market, and it is likely due to some conditional issue where, and same thing at a convention. Say I go to a convention, TCG Player will have a price for this. If I buy blindly on TCG Player, I'm going to have some amount of grading misses. This one is a grading miss. I have to either send it to Skya to be sold on my TCG Player, or I have to send it to PK or Ponga to be sold on Fanatics Live, or I can list it on eBay. But if you are at a convention, there are times where I would pay 110% of market for a card that I know, you never know 100%, but for a card that I'm quite confident will get a PSA 10, it's worth paying a margin. So, yeah, or a premium, not a margin, paying a premium. Retro, are you doing pre-orders for cases of Japanese Terrestrial Festival? If so, at what for a case? I did just order a few. I might have ordered Retro's last few for right now. Rudy is resealing stuff and watching YouTube. Rudy, with his multi-8-figure position, I'm quite confident, is not resealing anything. He does not have the time for that. or the need. Where would you guys purchase sealed product for a really good price? I am from the EU, but just moved to Texas. So things are different here, and retailers like GameStop don't have the best prices, I assume. So I will give you some big information here. Big, quite readily available information, though. And some of it's a little bit late for the current sets, but it is early. It is timely. So write these down somewhere. P Football Pete on eBay often has really solid prices. Not always, but often near the best on eBay. He buys massive volume and can compete at prices that most people can't because he's buying cheaper. He has lower fees with eBay. He has lower shipping fees with USPS. Hills Wholesale Gaming is a website that looks like it's straight out of 1999. They have not updated the website since 1999, but they are as legitimate as they come. They have tons of product at quite reasonable prices. There's Forge and Fire Gaming that I hear about a lot, but I've never used. There's also Safari Zone, which I've used before. I used today for SEO9 for my streamers. But those are just a few ideas of where to look for product, where to look for deals. I'm sure there's many, many more. I won't have time to do a Metazoo Saturday video for this Saturday, but it will come sometime in the coming weeks for sure. Nice to see you in here, Rob. How's it going? When is the Cracking Slabs ASMR video coming? I've done a couple live streams where I've cracked slabs, and I don't know if I'll crack them live ever again. It's messy, it's a pain, it's hard to do on camera, but I'll leave the ASMR videos to you. That's not my wheelhouse. Yeah, follow _retrospecs on Instagram. He posts stories almost every day with current pricing on 151, supercharged breaker. He's got Shiny Treasure. He's got access to like V-Star Universe. He's got access to everything you could want, and then even more than you could want, likely. Yes, Alpha Mal SV09 pre-orders for Safari Zone came out today. They did, as far as I understand, 1,800 boxes at 100 apiece, and they are sold out. Sold out within minutes. Opinions on the OK J-Love goated pulls behind the scenes. So I did watch that video. If anyone has not watched it, I would recommend it. I think it was a great video. I think it was really cool, actually, to see business done at a high level. It is not a business that I partake in myself. So I've made a video on my channel before talking about mystery boxes. And the interesting part to me is that mystery boxes are inherent to the hobby. There are certain products in the hobby that are no mystery. There are certain products in the hobby that you buy and you get what you are expecting to get. You get like a fixed amount of stuff within a box, a promo, whatever it may be. But the core product of the hobby, I don't have a booster packs or no, wait, I do right here. So the core product of the hobby is mystery. You might get, who knows, like why take the boat when there could be a boat in the mystery box? It could be a boat. So I'm going to go with the mystery box. But the core product of the hobby is gambling. It's a booster packs. It's a booster pack. It's a booster box. It's a random promo. Instead of just buying what you want and getting what you want, people buy a mystery and they might get wrecked and they might not. As long as people are honest and open about what's in there and what's not in there, honesty, trust, transparency, within the realm of the law, within the realm of like being reasonable, as long as you're being honest with people, I think it's all fair game. So for anyone who doesn't know, Goated Pulls, he does Whatnot. I think he does a couple different live streaming platforms. Maybe he does TikTok, maybe not Whatnot. But he sells like a mystery slab product for $200. And you open it, you might get a floor, which is like a $30 card or a $20 card. And you might get a $600 slab. And I think he does like 16 out of 50 will be ceilings and 34 out of 50 will be floors. And the floors are rough, but he has like an insurance policy. He has different ways to like change and modify the gamble. It's all inherently negative EV. You can see what's in the mystery boxes. You can see what goes into them and you can do the math. It's all negative EV. He's making a big margin selling them all in that fashion, but he's not lying to anyone. He's showing open, honest, all that stuff. And people are deciding to buy it. I am someone who goes to a casino every so often. I use betting apps on my phone. Those things are inherently negative EV over the long term. I do it for entertainment. I do it knowing what I'm up against. I do it knowing the math is not in my favor. But I'm an adult making an adult decision. His buyers are adults making adult decisions. So I think it's fine for him to do what he's doing. And yeah, the video really, he went all in on just showing exactly like what he's doing and talking about it. And some of the things are a little bit harsh, the way that he talks about people getting wrecked and this and that. But it's like, again, they're adults. I think it's fair play. Pokemon is doing a quite a similar thing. They're selling what is like what's retail today, $160 a box. That's like a couple dollars in shiny cardboard for them. And it's repackaged and they have some shiny cardboard that the secondary market puts a value of $1,000 on. But generally speaking, it's going to be a money loss. And they print billions of cards a year. And they'd print a lot less. If they sold you this card directly, it would cheapen it in a lot of ways. People wouldn't like it. If they sold you this card for $10 and everyone could have it that wanted it for $10, not as many people would want it. Like, it's brilliant. It's brilliant what they do, selling the chance at something instead of selling the specific something. So it's a tried and true business method. You go down the toy aisle. You go down the toy aisle in 2024, and even like dolls, even Lego minifigures, all these different toys, instead of just selling the item, they sell a chance at the item, and they put special insert chases in there. It's a brilliant business model, tried and true for a long, long time, and it's not going away anytime soon. It is gambling, and who's to say, as long, like, I trust and I believe in Pokemon to put in what they say they're putting in. They're very vague about what they say they put in, but I believe them. You've got to do your own due diligence, and you've got to say, like, do I really trust this Goated Pulls guy? And I think the way that he does it, I think he just shows it all, and then he shows it on stream, and, like, the cards all get pulled that he say is going to go in. He sells 50 at once, $200 a pop, and all the cards that he shows are in it, end up being hit within the same stream. So it's like, it's fully transparent. What more can you ask for than that? As I said, I think it's all fair game. It's all fair game. Gray felt stonks. Hopefully they do go up for us. What is the maximum number of the same card you'll send into PSA at one time? So presumably this question is being asked along the lines of like, I don't want to send in too many, thinking they might grade my cards differently. So the most I've ever sent in at one time of one card, I believe, is 50. I sent in 50 red Pikachus. If anyone is familiar, I can't remember what the promo number was. I should remember because I sold a bunch of them. But Red's Pikachu, Japanese promo, the card was Kevlar, the card was bulletproof. I graded over 100 of them. I don't think I ever graded a PSA 9. I graded 50 in a row in one submission and all 50 10. All 50 10. I've graded 20 to 40 Celebrations Charizards in a row at once. I am not concerned about sending too many of one card in a row at once. I know people have these tinfoil hat theories that you can only send this many and you got to order your cards this way. I don't bother with any of that. I grade enough cards that long-term averages will prevail, and some graders will be harsh, some will be soft, but I send in roughly 100 to 200 card submissions because that's just a good size for me relative to my cash flow, relative to my risk, relative to my insurance level. I think you should judge your submission size based around those things that are actually tangible and real and measurable, as opposed to tinfoil hat conspiracies about what might increase or decrease your PSA grades. That's just my take. But I've graded tens of thousands of cards over the past 10 years. I know people who have graded more than me that believe in some of those conspiracies that I don't. So I can't say that like I know the best because I've graded the most. I know people who've graded more than me that buy into some of those things, and I know people who grade a lot more than me that don't buy into any of those things. So that's my thoughts on it. That's the best I can give you. Hills really does have the Windows 95 aesthetic. Absolutely. Still going. It's only been 76 minutes. I'm going to be going for a while, hopefully. How's it going, Drac? Nice to see you in here. Is it true you're a capitalist pig? I'm very much capitalist. If that makes me a pig, I don't know. I've heard the saying, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So I think in that analogy, in that whatever you want to call it, in that little saying, I think pigs are the good ones and hogs are the bad ones. So yes, I'm a capitalist pig, not a capitalist hog. The word enough exists in my vocabulary. It's not always more, more, more. I try to do things morally, ethically, honestly, and transparently so that people can judge for themselves if what I'm doing is fair or not, and buy or don't buy, and that's perfectly fine with me. Most undervalued modern or vintage cards. I think the market, generally speaking, does a pretty good job at valuing cards properly. There are no cards that I really invest or speculate on individually. So I did recently buy 400 of this card. That was a very large purchase. These cards are, it was nearly $50,000. I bought that on a partnership with John, Pokemon Radar. But I didn't buy that because I think this card is like necessarily going to go up over time. I bought that to grade and flip for margin. When I buy cards, I buy them to grade and flip for margin, and then I'm on to the next thing. Where I invest, where I speculate longer term, is generally in sealed product. So I don't really look at modern or vintage cards and think undervalued. I'm going to buy 100 of them. I'm going to park 10 grand in this card to wait for it to go up over time. Where and when I do that is with sealed product, generally speaking. So yeah, I buy cards at or below market to grade for a premium and then sell. But I am not speccing. Like there are no long-term holdings that I have, no significant long-term holdings that I have on cards that I think like this should go up. If you give me two cards, like do I think that this one is more undervalued, or do I think like I could make a judgment between two because it's a spectrum on what's more or less undervalued. But I don't think any of them are undervalued enough for me personally, with my opportunity cost personally, to invest in a single card. Thank you so much for the websites. Have you ever tried Facebook Marketplace for sourcing? Paying before you get the item is scary, even with PayPal goods and services in my POV. But I assume for your flipping business you tried. Yes, I've sourced on Facebook before. I'm not a huge fan of dealing with Facebook. There are so many times that you will get ghosted by people. You will have negative interactions. Oh my God, you're buying for resale. It's like, I have grown to a point where I have a decent following. I have my own Discord that's in the Pokenomics Patreon. I'm in a bunch of other Discords. I have a bit of a name, a bit of like Instagram following, YouTube following. If I put out feelers for like, hey, and consider this a little bit of a self promo, consider this your outlet if you have these things that I'm going to list. If you have 151 packs, I will buy them at 85% of market. I put out a buy offer in 2 different Discords I'm in. I put out one in Alex Nostalgianomics' Discord the other day. I got no bites. I said I'm buying, I think it was $7 a pack. I'm buying up to 1,000 151 packs for $7 a pack, and no one bit. No one hit me up. My streamers are out of them. I need more. So I posted 1,000 packs in Pokenomics Discord, and I posted 1,000 packs in Nostalgianomics Discord. I got 0 bites. I do have some coming in from the old card shop that I bought separately from those buy posts. But yeah, here's a little plug for me. If you have 151 to sell, loose packs or sealed product, whatever, I will likely buy it at 80 to 85%. If you have Evolving Skies to sell, my streamers are out of it. I need more. I will buy at 80 to 85%, depending on what you have, how much you have. Hit me up. The way that I do it, since I'm like a trusted member of the community, I'm not gonna like exit scam you. I'm not gonna try to steal 100, 1,000, 10,000. I've had consignments pass through my hands that were $250,000 or more. I'm not going to run away with this stuff. I am out there publicly, my name, my face, all that stuff. I'm not going to. So people will generally send to me first, and then there's an advantage to this. I will pay you with Zelle. I will pay you with PayPal friends and family. I will pay you with cash if we meet in person, if we meet at the convention. I will pay you with a check. I will pay you with, what else did I say? Did I say Zelle? ACH, wire. I will pay you with any of these methods after receipt. If you're intent on getting a 1099 from the government and you're intent on having goods and services paid, I'll pay that. I'll pay that and I'll pay the fee. I don't care. But a lot of people like sending to me first. I verify and then I pay them out via a means that doesn't lead to any government documentations for whatever reason. I'm not sure why they prefer that. But yeah, that's a great outlet. So on top of buying 151, on top of buying Evolving Skies, I'm also looking for sub $50 slabs. If you have sub $50 slabs, they work well for streaming. You sell a $20 slab on eBay. I will break down the math for you. Selling a $20 slab on eBay, $20 free shipping. So say you have an eBay store that you pay for, you will pay $250. 12% of 2020 is $240. You'll pay $240 in final value fees. You'll pay $5 to ship it. You will net like $12 off that $20 slab. I'll buy it from you for 75%. I'll pay you $15 cash. Cash is in like no fees. So if you have 100 $20 slabs kicking around, I don't want to buy CGC 5, CGC 6. I want to buy like PSA 8, 9, 10, CGC 9, 10, things like that. I want to buy better, cheap slabs, not like super cheap, junky, niche, horrible, hard to sell alive slabs. But I will buy all your cheap slabs that do not sell well on eBay due to the $5 shipping cost eating you alive. They work well on live streams. I will buy all the singles you have. Hit me up with a collector list. Hit me up with a TCG player list of all your 50 cent to $15, $20 singles. Those do really well on live streams too. I will be a no risk, no hassle buyer for you. You hit me a list with 10 grand in singles. Like, you need to condition them properly. Don't condition them all in collector app at near mint, and then send me a bunch of bent in half creased, folded up wrecked cards. Sell me near mint cards for near mint prices. I will pay 70 to 85% of TCG player, eBay, whatever market is. I will buy all those things. I'm constantly buying all those things. So yeah, I generally don't source from Facebook because I put a feeler out and then I have my inbox get not flooded, but every time I say something about it, I get 5-10 people reach out and I spend 30 grand. So it's like if I just start doing that more regularly, I think the buys will take care of themselves. The sourcing will take care of themselves mostly. I like when Dan holds up stuff. The items always look tiny. What's better, Flash Fire Booster Box or Legendary Treasures Booster Box? Both those are appreciated so high that I would have a hard time. Like, if I am buying them, so if I'm buying them to open them, which set do I like better? Ooh, I like Legendary Treasures better. The Radiant Collection's cool. I think there's a lot better sets for a lot cheaper as far as just opening goes. But if I had to buy one to open and I could never sell anything, I would pick Legendary Treasures. Sorry, Charizard. But there are Charizards and Legendary Treasures too. There's that hollow one. But if you're talking investing, I would rather just have that much money in Surging Sparks that I bought at 92.50, or in Prismatic Evolution that I buy at 92.50. I'm not gonna buy a box that's that old. It could double, it could triple, absolutely. But I feel like it's more likely that I will double or triple with less downside in a brand new product at release, or a brand new product a year later. Bullish on adults making adult decisions in the hobby. Getting back into the hobby, I could never get over how small a booster box is compared to what I expected it to be. Pokemon Video says, I got a Evolving Skies booster box case. How much would you sell it for in the future? How long would you hear? So I have two of them. With what prices are doing right now, I am contemplating selling one relatively soon. I likely won't get one back again if or when I do sell it, but it's also like you never know. The box could team up. And 3 years from now, it could go from 800 to 3,000. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. If they tell you they do, they're just guessing. They're guessing like I would be. But all we can do is work with the information we have today. And if I look at what I got into the boxes at, and I look at what I'm getting for it, and what I'm plowing it into, like if a year ago I bought Evolving Skies boxes at $250 a box, I think I bought a couple collections, a couple investments out at 80%. So I bought some Evolving Skies a year or so, whenever it was 300, I bought some around 250. Whenever it was 400, I bought some more around 300, a little over 300. Looking at that whole picture, closing the loop on it, and like exiting with that gain, I could look back and I could say, oh man, Evolving Skies is now 3,000, and then this and that, and on and on and on. If you spend all your time looking in the rearview mirror, thinking what could have been, man, I could have made this, I could have made that, things are passing you by in the meantime. The car's still moving, and things are passing you by that you will look and say a year later, you'll still be looking in the rearview mirror a year later. I'm staring into my Elgato Streamlight right now, as if it's my big rearview mirror. You'll be looking, like, if you get stuck looking in the rearview mirror at what could have been. Man, I used to have 2 cases of Team Up. I sold them way too early. Things are going to pass me by. Like, worry about the future. Worry about the now. Worry about working with the information you have. If you sell stuff too early, I sold heaps of cases. I sold dozens and dozens of cases way too early of evolutions. But working with the information I had at the time, I made a good decision for myself. I put that money to work elsewhere, and that turned into good stuff too. Could it have done more? Absolutely. With perfect foresight, if we knew what was going to happen throughout the entirety of 2025, any one of us, if you start 2025 with $1, anyone could become a billionaire by the end of 2025 if they made perfectly timed trades with perfect foresight in and out of Dogecoin and Bitcoin and Tesla and Nvidia. Everyone could turn a dollar into $1 billion. No one has that. No one has that. No one will ever have that. So do the best you can do. You're never going to hit the perfect bottom. You're never going to hit the perfect top. But yeah, like don't worry about it. It's all about your opportunity cost. If you have a case of Evolving Skies that's worth about $5,000 today, maybe a little bit more. If you have a $5,000 case of Evolving Skies and you're sitting on it, and in your inbox, in your Instagram DMs, in your Facebook DMs, wherever, you have an opportunity to buy a collection that's $5,000 near mint cards, some of which you could grade and make exponential returns on, and you're not buying it because you have your capital tied up in Evolving Skies and you don't have the money to buy it otherwise. I would say your opportunity is too high to keep that case and you should sell it. But if you're a business that's doing 7 figures a year and you're buying 6 figures a month, and there's no collection that's coming to you, knocking on your door, that you're passing on because you have that Evolving Skies case, I would say it's fine to keep on holding, keep on trucking. That's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at right now. Cash flow is a little bit tighter than it's been historically because I've been buying so much, sending inventory to PK, sending inventory to Ponga, stretching things wide amongst a lot of different platforms. But That's what I mean when I say opportunity cost. If you have so much money tied up in a product that you are carrying a credit card balance, or you are not arbitraging on flip plays, grading plays that you could otherwise be, that would just double your money in a 6-month span, that's costing you a lot of money. So yeah, you need to consider opportunity cost. That's the number one. That and risk are the two top considerations for any investor in any market, whether you're in Pokemon, crypto, real estate, traditional like stock market. Opportunity cost and risk are the two biggest ones. Are you still actively buying Japanese 151 for long-term hold? So again, shout out _retrospecs on Instagram. I just bought, I think, I sent him 10 grand, I think it was. Let me double check. So let me double check so I give you exact numbers. So I will give you the date and the amount of money I sent him. I won't give you the exact price he paid because we have our own situation worked out, our own pricing thing. So I sent him 10 grand on October 18th, 2024. And with it, he bought on my behalf. So, well, on our behalf, he bought some 151, some Supercharged Breaker, some Chinese Treasure EX, and other sets. And those are available on my eBay. So what we do is we buy and then we sell for $5, $10, $20 net per box on eBay after fees and everything. Sometimes it's lower. Sometimes we need to wait a little while for appreciation for a box to go up before we can sell for that margin. But we're always selling and we're always buying and we're making margin. If our replacement cost, I'm going to use an arbitrary one, the price is actually lower than this. But our eBay listing is $100 right now. If you check Retro's most recent story on Instagram, I want to say he's selling them for 78. So yeah, we make sure that we're netting more than our replacement cost is. I might have, again, let me look at my live number with Retro. Live minus a couple days. So we have a few hundred boxes of 151. And if we sell 100 this month, we'll buy 100 next month. Hopefully, we'll time it right. So say 20 sell this week, I'll send him some money. We'll buy 20. And then we'll effectively lower our average cost per box on the ones that we hold. But like long term, I have 400 or 500 that I'm actively selling out of, but I'm actively rebuying into for cheaper than I'm selling them. So I'm constantly in and out, and I do the same thing with all the products that I can. All the products that I can, I will sell at full market or slight premium if I can, and I will rebuy at 80% or whatever. And I can't buy 151 at 80%. I buy it at whatever Retro buys it at. I guess if you take it in context of what I sell it at, I'm buying it at less than 80% of what I'm selling it at, but I'm buying it at like 100% of the secondhand Japanese sealed market because I don't have distribution for that. I don't have, like, Retro is my connection. He's a great connection, but he's not as good of a connection as, like, I don't have an actual Japanese distributor getting them for 25, 30 bucks a box, whatever they pay. How's it going, Head Pokemon? Nice to see you again. Drax says, advice, One Piece, we all know surging is Friday, but PRB 01 set 2. So for the sake of making money, hold some cases this time for a month or two to gain more. Mark it in your notepad. I sold most of my, what just came in? OP08, I think. I think I have one case left of OP08 that I'm selling at not much of a profit. I know I have some people in my chat from time to time telling me to hold my One Piece, but I sold 3 loose OP05 boxes that I got on a restock for like 180 a pop, I want to say. 170, 180 a pop. I just don't know anything about One Piece. I don't have any attachment. I get it through my distributor, and I just sell it for a markup. 190 average dad, first time watcher. Appreciate the honest answers on what you do. I appreciate you making a comment. I appreciate you. Glad you found me through the algorithm. If you enjoy what you're seeing, I would very much appreciate a subscription or a like. That helps the algorithm, helps all that stuff. I generally don't say it, but over the course of this year, my average viewership in a live stream, I've done it every other week this year. Lately, the past few weeks, every week, I get 40 to 60 live viewers at any concurrent time. These past few weeks, 100 to 130. I have 122 as I speak. It's wild. I love that it's going out to so many new people. I fear a little bit. I fear that some people will get caught up in the hype FOMO. I've been here 10 years. I saw it in 2016 with the Pokemon Go boom. I saw the Gold Star boom of sometime around then. I saw the 2020 boom, 2021. I saw the Japanese waifu boom in 2023. A lot of people will get burned on stuff, but like, go listen to a bunch of people talk about all this stuff. Go take in different perspectives and then make your own decision at the end. Don't blindly follow me. Don't blindly follow any individual person. Make the decisions for yourself. Own the personal responsibility for yourself, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. But yeah, I'm very happy to see new people, new faces here, new usernames here. I will be making Metazoo videos in the future, and there could be movement on those promos in the future. We will see. It will never move down. It will only move up. Is Metazoo cheap? Cheap is a relative term, right? So prices for most Metazoo boxes right now are less than they were 6 months ago, but they are, more than they were 6 months ago when Metazoo was bankrupt. Could they go up? Could they go down? No idea. No idea what they're going to do. I have some amount that I'm sitting on longer term. I used to be a partner with Metazoo. I plan to carry Metazoo in the future and interact with it to some extent. I'm excited for that. But it's all risky. It's all risky. Even the Pokemon that I hold, there is downside potential. I believe in it though. I believe in it long term. I know what the downside could be. But in spite of that, taking a calculated risk, I think the risk-adjusted potential returns are worthwhile for me in my situation with my opportunity cost. But yeah, Metazoo has one interesting dynamic going on. So again, shout out to Nick Strength and Pokemon, who hosted Charlie Herlocker on his podcast, on his live stream the other night. Charlie mentioned that the new products will be printed at Millennium Print Group. That is of note to anyone holding the old product, right? Some people I've seen argue that it might go down because of that. Oh, they're printing it in the United States now, not China. The old product, like, people won't want it as much. Some people say it'll be worth more. Like, oh, you can't get it. Now there's a clear delineation between old and new. And if new Metazoo becomes a big thing, like, the original stuff could go up. I can see an argument for either. And I truly don't know what will happen. But there is an interesting delineation between Metazoo 1 and Metazoo 2, whatever you want to call it. And it will be interesting. It will be fascinating to see how that develops over a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, if Metazoo continues to be a thing into the future. I'm really excited to see what will happen. It would take me 5 years to sort all my singles. Yes, that is one great thing about live streaming. I fill up boxes of singles, and I send them to PK, and I send them to Ponga, and they pull them out, and they run them on Fanatics Live, and they sell 50, 100 of them a night, and they put together the streams in whatever way they see fit, and I don't have to organize and sort myself. I just kind of like blindly chuck a lot of stuff, and they run it on their end. So it's a great thing. Can confirm Dan is the easiest buyer you'll ever deal with. I try to be. But as long as you're not trying to pull one over on me, giving me terrible comps. I have several people that I do multi 5 figures annually with. I am just their easiest buyer. I'm like, take what you want to the conventions. Consign what you want to with James on eBay. Consign what you want to with me on Fanatics. Or what works best on that. But there are a lot of cards. Like James charges $5 under $100 on eBay and Buy It Now auctions for his consignments. I charge $5 surcharge on everything sub 120 for Fanatics. Most of that stuff, generally speaking, me paying you 80%, 70 to 85%, depending what it is. Me paying you 70 to 85% comps on sub $50 cards will net you significantly more than consigning and getting only again, my rates are, you'll get 85% minus $5 sub 120. With James, you'll get 88% minus $5 for sub 100. 80% beats that almost every time. Because additionally, with James' consignment, he charges $5 shipping as well. So functionally, there's almost, you could argue, like a $10 surcharge for sub 100. And there's a $5 surcharge all the way up to 500 because of the $5 shipping fee that the buyer pays, but the consignor doesn't get. So, like, I discontinued my eBay Buy It Now consignment service because what James offers just beats it hands down in almost every way. The only exception, the only thing that I beat James on was that I would do sealed product on eBay. I'm discontinued. I'm not doing it anymore because what his buy it now and auction consignment service on eBay is, beat it in every other facet. But what I offer on Fanatics beats that, beats Fanatics Direct. It beats other Fanatics offerings in every other facet. So I try to offer what is a usable and good resource, what is a good service to my following, service to people who want to use it. Me buying your slabs at 70 to 85%, sub $50 slabs, that is more than you will net on eBay selling it yourself. That is more than you will net on eBay consigning with James. That is more than you will net with me consigning through Fanatics on sub $50 slabs especially. So, and as long as you send me a spreadsheet, if you can do the pricing, that's ideal. I will spot check your pricing a little bit. I will be significantly quicker. And once, like long term, I have people that I buy from that I don't check anymore. And I trust, maybe occasionally, if they sell me 50 slabs, I will spot check 3 or 4 of them randomly. But there are so many people that I buy just blindly. They send me a TCG player list once a month. And it's like, hey, Dan, I got 5K in singles. Yep, here's $4,000. Upon delivery, I will send $4,000 to their PayPal friends and family. I will send $4,000 to their Zelle. And I just trust them to condition the stuff right. And I've verified over the past weeks, months, years that they have done it consistently. I will be your easiest buyer if you will be an easier seller to me. I will buy things from you that will not work for you in other avenues very well. That will not work as optimally in other avenues. It's like, go to a convention, sell the whole weekend at the convention. Sell me what doesn't sell. Sell me your raw and your slabs that don't sell. And I will pay 70 to 85% depending what they are. And I will pay you friends and family, check, Venmo. No, Venmo's harder to do, but I will do Zelle. I will do Zelle, friends and family, ACH, crypto, wire, anything like that. Those are the easiest ones. So be an easy seller. I will be an easy buyer. Okay, this position that people first send you product and then you pay is safe, but you had to build up trust first. How did you source when you were just starting your business and were not trusted? I bought off eBay. I paid PayPal goods and services. I generally, that was it. Generally paying up front goods and services was the primary way. Retro, he needed a wise kid to scalp for him from Walmart. We got 3,000 packs from Costco and Walmart in the last month for $6 US and $7 US. I don't like I've talked about this before. I don't like the idea of going Costco myself and buying a pallet. I don't like the idea of running a bot. If you are doing those things and you want to sell to me for $7 a pack, sell away. I'll buy them. I'll buy a couple thousand packs probably at $7 a pop. But I just don't want to be the one doing that. I have wholesale connections. I buy from other people. I don't want to be buying what was intended for the end consumer. I don't care that people are doing it because I'll buy from them. But part of it's like, I don't want to end up somebody trying to fight me because I'm trying to buy 50 collection boxes at Costco. I don't want someone trying to fight me. I don't want having some weird interaction with the general consumer public. I don't want to think of the children and I end up on News Channel 5 at night because some crazy thing happens at my local Costco. I want to buy from the comfort of my own home. I want to buy from people that are go-getters doing that thing themselves. I don't want to be the one doing it. Let's see. Yeah, Best Buy, Walmart, all these different websites, GameStop dropping 151 at retail. People are doing well on them. SSBF says, I just purchased my first ever booster box and it came in without any bubble wrap or protection, which led to slight damage. What should I do? I want it to hold. Ideally, you buy from someone that you know packages them thoroughly. So one thing I'll tell you, like this box does not look great. This thing is pushed in. This can stream perfectly fine. Generally speaking, this is why I deal in sealed cases only. I only deal in sealed cases. And even dealing in sealed cases, some people will be like, oh, the sticker's ripped. Oh, the sticker is crooked. Like, I can't help that Pokemon prints 12 billion cards a year and slaps a sticker on crooked, or the stop tape peeled off partially. And like, some of this stuff from the distributor comes in fairly rough shape. I've opened sealed cases from a distributor and it's looked like this. So I understand the desire to have something that looks minty, but if you got what the person sold, if the person sold you a box on eBay and said that, hey, this one looks a little rough. Hey, I'm going to ship it in a box with no packaging, with no protection. and that's the way it came, like that, you got what you bought. If that's the case, if someone sold you for a premium a super minty, case fresh, collector, crispy clean, sharp corner box, and then you got that, I think you have a legitimate concern to get a refund, return it. But if you bought like a sealed box of product, this is like, we are crazy collectors that are worried about all the nitty gritty, all the fine details. This is packaging. This is not the product. This is the product. And even this, Pokemon will print sets where cards come out of a pack, PSA 7, PSA 8 quality. So all this stuff is mass produced. This is the packaging. I think it's reasonable for a packaging to have a little bit of scratching and denting. But this is why I don't sell single boxes. This is why I deal by the sealed case only. This is why I don't like to mess around with that, because it's such a hassle. The stuff I get from distribution doesn't come in clean enough to make a lot of the end consumers happy. It's just such a pain. In my experience, Facebook Marketplace is good for buying small lots, etc. in person for cash. But then you only limit yourself to public meetups. Yeah, like where I live, there wouldn't be a whole lot to buy where I live. Steve's Collectibles is bullish on Metazoo. Any recommendations on what box to buy if you're just getting in and would like to buy and hold? Oh, you're asking Steve for what so Drax says OPO 8 dump it all. OPO 9 in December will blow the TCG again. Appreciate the insight. OPO 8 I am dumping. OPO 9 we'll see. We'll see what it's doing. I might dump that too. Probably has a god pack inside worth 7k US if you hit it. That's crazy. So OPO 4 was bad. OPO 5 went to the moon because you could pull those like art rares or whatever, or alt rares, serialized cards. I don't know if I bought PRB01. What's PRB01? Is that a specialty set? Drac, are you Gump? Are you Gump from Discord? And yeah, there are videos that detail some amount out there of like what inventory was purchased along with Metazoo. Certain sets were included in that, certain sets were not included in that. So I think that would be useful information. Go check out Nick Strength and Pokemon if you want to see a video. I think he shared a lot of the inventory that was shown there. Pokestone does shows as well in Florida. How to become pillar. I don't know. I'm not a pillar, so I wouldn't know. Pokemon Video says, I remember the COVID boom. I feel like 2025 will be an even bigger market, which is hard to even think about, but happy to be here. So yeah, I've been asked this before, and I will answer it again quickly. How do I think this compares to the pandemic boom of 2020, 2021? In my opinion, in all ways, it is crazier. We do not have stimulus checks in our pocket. We did not just get a bunch of money helicoptered into us from the government due to the pandemic, all those $1,600, $2,000, whatever those checks were. I don't remember how much they were. So we don't have that money. We are going out to restaurants. I just went out to dinner tonight with my family. We got some great sushi and hibachi. Not like hibachi where they cook in front of you, but it was like a sushi place that has hibachi that is just cooked in the back and they bring it out to you. But people are going out to dinner. Sports are happening. People are going to games. People are traveling. People are going to conventions. So people are spending money elsewhere, but they are spending a ton of it here too. Stock market's up, crypto's up, all these things are up a ton. So money's sloshing around like crazy. But Pokemon is printing 12 billion cards a year. PSA is grading 12 million cards a year. Unprecedented numbers of this stuff is going out there. In spite of all that, this card is up a ton. This card is up a ton. Boxes are up a ton. Surging Sparks is 160 at release. Vivid Voltage was up to 200 at release, around release, because of global supply chain issues, because the world was shut down. The world is not shut down now, and Surging Sparks is doing insane things. Being printed, I can't say for sure one-to-one that Surging Sparks was printed more than Vivid Voltage, but I would wager a substantial amount of money that more Surging Sparks was printed at release than Vivid Voltage was, just due to the fact that we're printing more every year in this current day and age, and also the bottlenecks, the constraints of the pandemic back then too. So it is wild what we are going through right now in Pokemon. It is more wild in almost every measurable way than what 2020, 2021 was. How sustainable is it? I expect this will go on for some amount of time, maybe months, maybe a year or two. If we get a year or two of this insanity, that will be crazy. I would not be overly surprised to see this last through Rocket, last through Terrestrial Festival, last through Prismatic Evolutions, and then by summer, maybe things cool off a little bit. Maybe we get hit. Like we could fully get hit with Surging Sparks, and we could see Surging Sparks at $90 in the summer. Will we see that? I would not wager on it. I would think if we get a restock, it'll probably be one of those things where the market price is 150, 160 plus, and distributors sell it to me for 120, up to 4 cases, up to 6 cases. Like, it'll probably be limited. But things can change pretty quickly. Think where we were 6 months ago. Think where we are now. Things can flip on a dime. Remember when 151 Japanese was $40 a box? 40 to $50 a box? Remember when Stellar Crown, Paradox Rift, remember when all these Scarlet and Violet sets were like sub 100 and you could get most of them? Remember a year ago, whenever it was that Paldea Evolved was sub 100, now it's like 150 plus. Obsidian Flames is doing crazy things too. It's wild how quickly things can turn. They can turn back the other way at any time too. They can absolutely. My live viewership right now is 133 people. In a week, in a month, in a year, I can be back to 40 to 60 viewers. I will still be doing it when I have that viewership. Maybe I'll never go back. That's the other side of it. I might never go back to 40 to 60 concurrent viewers on YouTube. This might be some new shift where, sure, at some point it will pull back. At some point it will wane. My new floor of live concurrent viewers might be 70, might be 80, might be 100. Who knows? Nobody. I don't know. You don't know. Your favorite YouTuber, if it's not me, does not know either. I'm along for the ride though. I'm riding the wave. I'm having a great time. I hope everyone else is having a great time too. We are in a golden age of Pokemon. It is phenomenal how big, how strong the market is. So many people playing the game, having a great time with it. TCG Pocket just came out. I'm still playing Pokemon Go with the whole family. We tried raiding Lugia earlier. We could not do it. My daughter's phone was glitching. She couldn't get in on the raid with us. Me, my son, and my wife tried, and we got destroyed by Lugia. But I'm engaging with Pokemon in so many ways. My family is in so many ways as well. We're all having a great time. It's an awesome time to be in Pokemon. The arts are fantastic. The sets are fantastic. Love what's going on right now. Glad to be here. Let's see. Any idea how much a Secret Wonders booster box goes for? I have no idea. I do not play in those older boxes. I bought and opened one years ago for a couple $100, which is crazy to think about. It's multi-thousands, but I do not track those closely. If you do want to get deeper into Pokemon, if you want to have access to a couple year backlog of videos of myself and Jake, Pokenomics, we do have linked below in the description the Pokenomics Patreon. It's $10 a month. You get access to me in addition to the weekly free YouTube live streams and my bi-weekly, fortnightly Pokeflips live stream Q&As on YouTube. I have weekly office hours. So earlier today, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. in Discord, we have, it might be 3-4 people in a given week. While we're booming, it might be 10-20 people in a given week. We're in there talking Pokemon 3 to 4 p.m. every Wednesday. It's an additional way to have access to Q&A with me and other people. I have a Discord of a few hundred people where you can ask questions. You can look at our backlog of Zoom videos. Once a month, we have a monthly Zoom, 2 to 3 hours every month. We talk about Pokemon. We dive deep. One of the things that I've done, one of the things that Jake has done in the past, we've gone through, actually, we've looked at like historical booster box prices. A lot of times, TCG Player will only show you a year's worth of data. Pokedata, you got to pay to see a year's worth of data. You can pay to see 2 years worth of data. TCG Player, you can only see a year's worth of data. We document in a lot of different ways. We'll do a deep dive on certain sets, on certain PSA pop reports, on certain BGS, CGC pop reports. We will deep dive one different topic every month, and all that stuff is there. There's a bingeable backlog of stuff that you could check out. All these different resources we've made, Google Sheets, Google Documents. So yeah, I don't know, but I have a spreadsheet somewhere that would tell me what it went for every year that I could find. So it is hard to find resources out there that track the historical prices of something like a booster box. But I actually have one resource in our Pokenomics Patreon that shows it for like every year. I could find data for every booster box, and I keep that up. Appreciate you, Hive Mind Collectibles. 135 people watching, and only 50 have liked the video. If you could pump that number up for me, if you could pump that number up for Hive Mind, we would very much appreciate it. I appreciate you for the super chat. No need ever. No need, but I do appreciate it. Oh man, I'm falling behind the chat. I'm trying to keep up. Do you buy into the theory that English gem mint graded cards are worth more because the print quality is so much worse than Japanese etc? I don't like buy into that. That is just partially the reason. Partially the reason is because if a card grades 95% gem mint 10 versus if a card grades 15% gem mint 10, there will be more of a chase. There will be more of a premium for a card that is harder to grade, right? Oh, Mason's texting retro. Is he not answering? Do you see a PSA losing value due to AI grading company in the card scene? I don't see it happening in the short term. Wait, can people see me? I think people can see me now. I think I'm back. I appreciate people who have somehow like we are booming. If this is not indicative of a boom. When did Retro text me? I appreciate you, Retro, for texting me so that I knew I was down. Imagine if I was 45 minutes behind chat. Look, I saw Brad mention in the chat. Dan's probably talking to the live, thinking that he's still live. So yeah, we are booming. I left a live chat for how many minutes? Let me see the first. Bruh, whelp. 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago, my stream failed. And 40 people were still watching. There are 52 people here live now, 20 minutes later. That's what I used to have for viewership 2 months ago, a month ago. We are booming. I'm going to resume as if nothing happened. I will quickly detail what happened on my end. So I live in the woods. I have T-Mobile home internet. I've been live streaming on T-Mobile home internet for over a year now, I think. Several months at a minimum. Never had a single issue until tonight. Right now, I'm streaming at 1,029 kilobits per second. It dropped to 0. And then it went to like 10, and then it went to 0, and then it went to 10. I rebooted my computer. I tried ending the broadcast. Thankfully, it didn't work. I clicked in OBS to end broadcast. I tried rejoining it from my phone. It wouldn't let me in. I tried rejoining it from OBS a couple times. It wouldn't let me in because my internet was just gone. But at any point, it feels like it could leave now, though it's been good for months. We're back up to 61 viewers. Let's continue where we left off. I rebooted. If it doesn't work, turn it off and turn it back on again. So essentially my modem, I went to my modem, turned it off, turned it back on, and it took like 5 minutes to fully kick through, and I forced my way back into the OBS former live stream. Actually, if someone could let me know, do I have a secondary live stream showing on my channel? I can't see it from my end right now, so maybe it's not there. But I tried doing a separate live stream from my phone that didn't go through because my Wi-Fi was down. My PC's hardwired. Anyways, all that's over. We're booming again. 67 people watching. But let's just continue where we left off. Let's see if my channel highlight will still work. I need to pop my chat back out. I lost my music. I'm like disheveled here right now. I'm disheveled, but I appreciate everyone hanging out. I will not miss a question. I will get to all of them. I was so sad that it was gonna have to end there because we were having a good chat. Let me get my music going again, and I will get back to where we left off. Let's overload Dan's modem with hearts. So my pop-up chat is not working. I need to reconfigure it, which is very quick. So my highlight chat is not seeming to work. Okay, there it goes. Let's overload Dan's modem with hearts. I appreciate you all. That's hilarious. We don't have quite the 130 we did, but let's see if we can rebuild. Let's see if we can rebuild bigger, stronger, better. I don't plan on going super late, but we'll see if I can catch up where we go from there. I need to get through the 20 minutes of people. It's funny how you guys were just like talking amongst yourselves. So unfortunately my chat only goes back to 11:24. I know I jumped ahead a little bit. I might have missed a couple things. I jumped ahead a little bit when HiveMind says 135 watching right now, only 50 likes. Again, I appreciate that. I think I skipped a couple questions. If you are still here and I skipped your question sometime between like 11:15 and 11:25, pop it back in chat and I will get to it. But I'm going to continue where we I'll continue from where we were at. That is far too kind. I appreciate you. I think that's a harsh way to put it. It might be partially true, but Vibra Finance said your content is too high Q for the average idiot. Numbers don't reflect quality. I see why Rudy would watch this too. I think that is far too kind, and I think that is far too harsh on the average YouTube consumer. I would say my content is way too down the rabbit hole. So my content is very far down the rabbit hole. My content is very far in the weeds. Most people want to relax. Most people had a long day at work and they want to come home, sit on the couch, whatever, in bed, before bed. They want to watch a couple YouTube videos and they just want to be entertained. They just want to enjoy their time. They don't want to think too hard, and it's reasonable. It's reasonable to get some relaxation time. Turn your brain off, listen to some content, watch some Pack Strip, B-Rip, whatever. But I'm really interested to see how that 20-minute gap goes on the playback. Like when this live is posted as a video for people who weren't here, will there be just a 20-minute mess or will it just jump as if nothing happened? But anyways, those who were here know what happened. We lived through it. We lived through the internet outage. It reminds me of that South Park episode when everyone goes to find the internet when the internet goes out. But anyways, being more kind to the general YouTube viewer base, I would say I'm super boring. I'm super in the weeds. I'm super down the rabbit hole. And most people don't care for that. So I am like in the niches of the niches, the 1% of the 1% of engagement. If you're here for it, I think a lot of people can enjoy my stuff, but you need to be here for it. It is not for the average consumer. So I think that's a reasonable way. Bro is zooming now. Guys, wild. 20 minutes there. I was not zooming. I was slacking. I was gone, but Drac is holding 3,000 packs, his 151 packs. That's fine. Perfectly fine. Appreciate you Pokemon videos. Yeah, there's a great group of people in there, a few hundred people. There's Q&As, there's all this kind of stuff. You get an hour from me every week, you get an hour from Jake. That's going back to my Pokenomics Patreon plug. Let me, in case anyone's interested in that, I know I was talking about it quite some time ago. I will link the Pokenomics Patreon. If anyone is interested in getting more content from me, getting content from my partner Jake, getting our whole backlog, that is there, $10 a month. You unlock the whole 3-year backlog as well. I think we've been going since September of 2021. So we've talked about a lot of different topics in that time. My GameStop is now grading cards. I don't know if mine are. I actually just had dinner relatively close to a GameStop. I thought about stopping in, but it was running fairly late. It was going to be, we got home just in time for the kids' bedtime. They were a little bit late, so I didn't really have time to stop. But so at 11:26, it was F streamed down. Oh, I thought it was just me. The boom is over. Oh man, Dana's sleeping on the chat. Shut her down. Back to bothering retro. So Slug Alex, if you are still in here, re-ask your question and I will get to it. I apologize for the downtime. I can't remember if I fully answered it or not, but I had to fully restart my computer. I lost a lot of comments, I think. So 11:26 is when it went down. People were messaging all over the place. He's restarting his PC. Hold, please. Appreciate you, Retro. We were texting. If Dan gets back on and back up to 100 viewers, rocket ship. We're at 73. Can we get back to 100? We're on the drive for 100. When's the return of Team Rocket dropping? Sometime in the spring, I think. I don't think we have anywhere near a firm date. Dan mid-sentence. Time to shut her down. Back down to 43. Wrecked. Dan killed his own stream. It's crazy I only went down to 40. That is wild. That is so wild. For people who had minimized me and popped up something else in the meantime and then stayed, you guys are the real ones. I appreciate you very much. Dan definitely still talking to the camera, thinking he's still alive. Steve's Collectibles is buying some Japanese from Retro. You'll love to see it. _retro on Instagram. Retrospecs on Instagram. OBS wrecked me. It was a combination of OBS, my modem, and my PC. Everything was weird. OBS froze. It wanted me to launch in safe mode. Crazy. Strategy for Japanese for me is to buy from _retrospecs on Instagram. We sell through eBay, my eBay. We use daily deals to try to sell them at a slight margin. We are a trusted source, all that stuff, so we get a slight margin. And we also sell through Fanatics Live. I will be sending some of that to Ponga and PK to sell on live stream for a slight margin, hopefully. Sell locally, hold, or rip for fun. Ripping still a gamble, as always. I thought I was back, but I was not back. And then I was back. I was back at 11, a 20-minute outage. A 20-minute outage, and we are back. So Steve's Collectible says, I haven't bought a lot of Japanese, to be honest. Just 151 because of the Master Ball reverses. And now Terrestrial Festival because I got a good price point. I just hold for long term and put in my sealed room. There we go. Generally speaking, and historically speaking, most of this stuff goes up quite well over time. I've characterized it as the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. We are definitely having an unprecedented amount of people investing in Pokemon, but we are also having an unprecedented amount of people opening Pokemon, Whatnot, Drip, Fanatics, eBay, all these different live streaming platforms. All the people you don't see and hear from. The amount of people that go and buy from their LGS, they go and buy from their Walmart, their Target, rip product in the privacy of their own home, never post a hit to YouTube, never post anything to Discord, Instagram. The amount of people that interact with the hobby like solely in person, solely privately for themselves is massive. We are a tiny fraction, like not a tiny fraction. We are a smaller than the majority, I would estimate. We are smaller than the majority, the things that you see online. Tons of product ripped constantly. Tons of cards not even graded. 14,000, 15,000 Moonbreons graded PSA 10. More than that in binders, not graded, never to be graded, in my opinion, at least, in my estimation. But yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I call the unstoppable force is Pokemon's printers, but the immovable object, or no, is that the other way? The immovable object is the mountain. So the immovable object is Pokemon's printers and the amount of product they have printed. The unstoppable force, though, is consumer demand and collector demand, all that stuff. Investor demand, that product isn't consumed, that product isn't used up. So you ultimately do need consumption. You need people to rip it. You need people to collect it. You need people to enjoy it to sustain all this. And I think that will win out. I think the unstoppable force will win out. The ripping, the consuming will win out over the investing, the printing. That's me personally. I think Pokemon will navigate it well. I think they have in their history, so that's what I'm betting on. That's why I'm buying and sitting on some amount of sealed product. What is your thoughts on Disney Lorcana? I'm a Disney kid. Like we had all the VHSs growing up. I loved them. I like a lot of the old movies. I like a lot of the new movies too. We have Disney Plus. I watch Encanto. I watch Moana. I'm excited for Moana 2 to come out soon. But the cards just don't do it for me for whatever reason. They weren't around when I was a kid. A lot of Pokemon, a lot of why I like Pokemon cards is that it's nostalgic to me. It brings me back. But I don't have that connection with Lorcana. I don't play the game. I don't play Pokemon. So they just never hit for me. The boom is now, chat. We are back. We are definitely booming. We did have a quick little bathroom break. What is your thoughts on Disney Lorcana longer term? One interesting conversation is some people had the opinion that Disney is huge, which they are. Disney is a massive publicly traded company. But just because they're a massive IP, massive publicly traded company, doesn't mean they need cards. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. Lorcana could be around in 10 years. If it is, and if people are still enjoying it, if it's bigger than it is today, more likely than not, all the product that people are investing in today would have returned quite well for them. They would have been very happy with the returns if the hobby grows as a whole. But I'm not banking on that. I'm not touching Lorcana at all. I'm all in Pokemon. not all in like all my investments long term are. But as far as in the cardboard space, I am 95% Pokemon and I'm 5% other. At some time in the future, 5% might grow to 10, 15%. It might be Metazoo, it might be other things. I don't think it'll be One Piece. I don't think it'll be Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z. I've tried those things and they've just not really worked out for me. Metazoo, I did enjoy my time with it though, and I'm excited to engage with it again in the future at some point. We are still live, but we did have a 20-minute downtime where my OBS, my computer, my modem failed me for the first time ever. That was pretty wild. Oh, do you see PSA losing value due to AI grading? So I don't know how much of this answer you heard. I probably did answer it for about 5 minutes before I realized things were down. So PSA is the standard right now. PSA has tons of market acceptance. They have tons of market familiarity. They are the brand in Pokemon graded cards. BGS and PSA are there as well. They have some appeal. They have some brand recognition, all that stuff. Whether Tag or AGS could knock them off someday, no idea. I doubt it. I would lean towards no, just due to the history and the time in the market. But like over 100-year time frame, things could change. Who knows? So many things could change. One thing that I say is like, buy the card and the grade. PSA is generally correct in how they grade cards. But if they're correct 99% of the time, that means that they're grading tens of thousands of cards incorrectly every year. 1% of 12 million would be 120,000, right? Let me just verify. So yeah, 120,000. And are they 1% accurate? Sorry, 1% inaccurate, or are they 0.1% inaccurate? I always say plus or minus 1. I always say they're accurate 95, 99% of the time, plus or minus 1. A lot of times they're probably accurate even closer than that. But some amount of times, whether it's 0.1, even if it's 0.1, it's 12,000 cards a year. If 0.1% of cards were very terribly misgraded, which I think is true, if not slightly more, that's 12,000 cards a year that are misgraded very horribly. I've had terrible, ugly PSA 10s. You can sell them for more than a PSA 9. Sometimes you can sell them for very close to a PSA 10, but it's usually harder. And I think that will matter in the long term, especially if or when AI becomes this big thing and gradings is more strict and more consistent. It could be a thing, but I'm not banking on it. But I'm not investing in single graded cards anyways. How do you handle cards you source for grading that don't meet the expected condition? Do you return cards with significant flaws or have a specific system for managing these cases? So if it's a expensive card that is misgraded, I will return it. I will open a case, whatever it may be. If it's like a dollar card that I bought 100 of and one of them's off, it's not worth my time. I'm not going to go through it. So it's all like a time cost thing like that. What do you say to the haters who think the Jets and your fantasy football team are not meeting expectations that were set in the preseason? Are they on the hot seat? Yeah, I mean, the Jets are vastly underperforming. They are the Jets. I went into the season cautiously optimistic, and my cautious optimism was largely misplaced. Season's not over. They could come storming back if they could do something. They have a lot of talent on their roster, but I'm not banking on it. I'm not holding my breath. Same thing for my fantasy football team. Season's not over. Just got to make the playoffs. Just got to get in there. Who knows what'll happen? But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. This stream might be the record for the most shoutouts. Gotta be, I would say. Any recommendations on what to buy if you are new to Metazoo? I would say I would buy what you enjoy. I definitely do buy some stuff, hoping and thinking that it could go up in the long term. But the sets that like I enjoyed all the sets. Relatively speaking, you can get a lot of the old sets for pretty cheap. Go buy something, buy a $20 box of something and open it and see if you like it. Metazoo might not be for you. Old Metazoo might not be for you, but future Metazoo might be. Coming in Q1 of 2025 per Charlie on Nick Strength and Pokemon stream, it's going to come back and it's going to be printed in the USA, which is something that I like. I'm excited to engage with it in the future, but it's not for everybody, and that's perfectly fine and fair. So try out a box of the old stuff. Try out some new stuff and see where it all goes. That's what I'm going to do. Richard Beltran, upload October Zoom recording for Patreon, please. So it is uploaded. to Discord. So it's uploaded to Discord. We have a sheet where we track. It's called resources. It's in the resources tab. We have a drive sheet that shows all the old links to all the old monthly Zoom things. But so Jake just got married last weekend. Jake is the one who manages the Patreon side. I manage the Discord side. I understand everyone in the Discord, everyone in the Patreon is not in the Discord. But as of right now, like Jake just got married this past weekend. Timing wise, he didn't get it uploaded to Patreon directly, though he does eventually usually link those links. I would recommend you shoot a DM to Jake on Patreon, and then whenever he's back from the honeymoon, all that stuff, he will upload that at some point. But yeah, unfortunately, he didn't get that off in time. It is, though, however, uploaded on my YouTube, and it is linked in the resources tab in the Patreon. Sorry, in the Discord. Shout out to PK for the last live, reminding his story on buying chilling versus evolving. We will all face this choice sooner or later. Who split who bet on the right horse all in? What should we do? Let's say pre-surging. Should we do only 151 aside or a split or only Twilight? What do you think? Again, look at my palette video. Look at what I'm actually doing. I can hypothesize about what might happen, this, that, the other thing. Look at my walk versus my talk, though. And mind you, though, I am putting away part of my allocation that I get at $92.50 a box. I'm generally not buying 170 Surging Sparks. I'm not buying 180 Twilight Masquerade or wherever that's at. I'm not buying. I am buying. I'm trying to buy. No one's selling to me. I'm trying to buy at 85% loose packs of 151. $7 a pack. I will buy thousands of packs from you, and no one's reaching out to me to sell them. Hopefully in my inbox, hopefully in my DMs, in my email, hopefully someone will have sold to me or reached out to sell to me, but I don't know. But yeah, I buy things as they become available for good prices relative to market for me. Ernie doesn't make my thumbnails anymore. He hasn't in quite a while. Cheval, it's nice to see you though. Been a while. You look better live than on the thumbnail. Ernie's silently burning you. I used that. I think I was like thinking or something. I used that on the thumbnail. That was from a few months ago. The beer was bigger, maybe a month ago. I don't know exactly when that was from. How can I liquidate my collection? For context, I've just started and I'm set on only holding sealed, but I have a couple cards that I can sell. Reach out to me. I'm always buying 70 to 85% depending on what you have. Generally speaking, I'm targeting sub $50 slabs, PSA 8, 9, 10, CGC 9, 10, pristine. I am trying to buy constantly for my live streams. I buy a little bit to resell on eBay or Fanatics. I also consign. So if you have higher end stuff that you want to consign on Fanatics, feel free to reach out to me. My rates are right here. I will net to you higher than you would get yourself selling on Fanatics. So yeah, that opportunity is there. But yeah, with respect to Metazoo, I like Cryptid Nation, Nightfall, Wilderness, UFO, Seance, Native. I like all of them. I like different things about them. But that was original Metazoo. I'm excited for what Meta 2 will become. I have 93 people watching. Can we return to 100 people live? It would be really cool to be able to get to where we have 100 people live again after having dropped the stream midstream for 20 minutes. If anyone has any questions, there's currently no backlog for me answering your question. I am fully caught up with chat. I will hang out for up to 22 minutes more to get to 12:30. That will have been a 3-hour live stream total, closer to 2.5 because of the time that I dropped. But yeah, I'm crazy how hot of a market we are in. Crazy how you can have a live stream go down for 20 minutes midstream, and then you get back to it 20 minutes later, and there are still 40 people watching. We've been going again after picking the stream back up for 23 minutes, and the algorithm has fed in 97 people. 50 additional people to who was still hanging out. Did you grab some Rain City Pikachu? I generally don't spec on those like oddball niche promos. One thing that I constantly say is the moderner the betterer, which that card is modern. That card is quite modern. But the higher pop, the better. I want to buy hundreds of a card and just keep them churning, keep them going. Celebrations Charizard. Moonbryon. I don't have hundreds of Moonbryon, sadly, but like gray felt hat Pikachu. Anything that has a margin and is tens of thousands of pop, I want to be there. I want to be buying and selling a ton of that stuff. I do 7 figures annually. It's hard to do the niche stuff to a very high level. And that card could be a great investment. That card could be a great spec. I will miss out if that is the case, but there is history. There is history for some of those like very obscure promos being released and being worth a lot of money, going up pretty high, people buying them, specking, investing, collecting, whatever, and then they reprint them further down the line. Given the nature of that release, it feels like it would be harder to do with that one because it was tied to a specific game. But who knows? I just don't play in promos that are that niche. I am familiar with what it is though. Shout out to PK. The only reason I know what that card is because PK talked about it. Shane says, how do you handle cards you've sourced for grading that don't meet the expected condition? Oh, yeah, I answered this one a minute ago. So I do return them. I do return them if they are very expensive and it's worth my time opening a return. I will do it. If it's a 50-cent card, I don't bother. I just chalk it up as a loss. Generally speaking, people are pretty good about selling. If they sell a near mint card, it will be deemed near mint. But so if I buy a near mint card on TCG Player, I do not return it if it is near mint but not gem mint. You cannot do that. There's no specification on TCG Player for gem mint. There's no specification for black label, pristine. So if you buy a near mint card and you get a card that is by definition on TCG Player near mint, you can't hold that against the seller. They're giving you what you're buying from them. I sell my grading misses on TCG Player. So I will sell them as TCG Player near mint and they will be TCG Player near mint, but they might not be PSA gem mint. But that is not a condition on TCG Player. So yeah, if they sell me a near mint card and it's folded in half, I will return that. It's a pain in the butt, but I do it. How to get rid of imposter syndrome? Just continue doing what you're doing every day. Continue seeing the growth. Continue seeing the results, and know that you belong. Know that you belong. That's yeah. Just keep crushing it. You're crushing it right now. Ask your fellow people in the space how to get rid of imposter syndrome, and I'm sure everyone that knows you will say that you're crushing it. Keep at it, and maybe that will allow you to get past some of it. That Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles said that your concerns are not valid, not worth dwelling on. So keep it pushing, as a wise man once said. What do you think is a good way to ensure we don't drop again? Hardwired. I'm very bearish on Wi-Fi. I'm very bullish on Ethernet. I have been connected to Ethernet the whole time, including the 20 minutes that I dropped. So I'm doing all I can to ensure that I don't drop. But it happened. It happened for the first time, and it was a 20-minute lapse. That sucked. Dan, how do you classify the Pokemon trophies in your possession? Are they part of your inventory that you are actively trying to sell, or are they more of a long-term hold collection piece? So I hold only one more Pikachu Full Art trophy. I'm giving serious consideration as to shopping it for sale. So that is a remnant, one of the remaining remnants of former collector Dan. And we are, I was going to say, we're at 88 watching. I don't know if we hit 100. I didn't pay attention if we hit 100 after the drop. But I'm going to be winding down anyways. The amount of money I have tied up in cards that are like multi-4 figures to multi-5 figures is probably too much. I actually pulled out all my uncut sheets recently. I was going to send them to Fanatics. And sadly, Fanatics does not take uncut sheets anymore. They stopped doing sealed product. They stopped doing uncut sheets. They are solely doing graded cards. They might do it again in the future, but I do need to list my big list of to-dos in the coming weeks. List my uncut sheets on eBay. List my trophies are all on eBay, to be fair. They're listed on eBay, but they're listed very high relative to comps. I might Fanatics auction them at some point soon. 12 new trophies will be coming out every year, moving ahead. Pokemon Unite, I believe, gets trophies now. TCG, VGC, and Pokemon Go also gets the trophy card. So the amount of money, opportunity cost, as I say, me having that money for cash flow in the business would be more important towards, would be more useful, would be a better use of the capital, I believe. I could sell it and it could double in the next year and I could kick myself, but I know what I could do with that money. I know I could fill my buckets, yada, yada, all that good stuff. I know what I could do in the meantime. And I think trying to get the Fanatics Collect continuing to go, I think trying to get the Fanatics Live going better, I think I could use that capital better otherwise. So I did just sell an Art Academy today. I sold an Art Academy today that I've had for quite some time. That is a significant gain to what I originally bought it for. I might be selling more of my Art Academies. I do have some Japanese promos that I might sell, but it is hard. It is hard to part with some of them that are like former PC Dan stuff. But yeah, a lot of that's long-term inventory, but some of that long-term time frames might be shortening up soon. How many native or Nightfall did you rip? I think I remember you ripping a ridiculous amount of native. They're up to 150 plus cat a box now with the news. So I was a partner for UFO, Seance, and native. I ripped over 10,000 packs of each. 10,000 packs is approximately 300 booster boxes worth. I didn't rip all boxes. I ripped a lot of the spell books. I ripped a lot of the different ancillary product so that I could get to the packs cheaper when you subsidize them off of selling the promos, selling the sealed decks, and things like that. So yeah, I ripped over 10,000 packs. I sold a lot of the boxes sealed. The boxes did well for me for a while. I did rip a bunch. It was very plus EV to sell the singles back when tournaments were a thing. But I have approximately 4 cases left of every set from base set, Cryptid Nation, second edition, not first edition. So I have Cryptid Nation second edition, UFO, Nightfall, Seance, Wilderness, and native. I have about 4 cases of each of those. And then I have a handful of loose boxes of Cryptid Nation first edition, and I have 2 Kickstarter boxes first edition. So that's about what I have. And then I have tons of singles, tons of sealed promos and decks and things from the release event decks. Is there history of Pokemon announcing reprints shortly after first wave, 1 to 2 months? Surging is going to surge, but I don't think Pokemon will announce reprints to cool secondary market. So there was a multi-year period where it wasn't necessarily a reprint, but it was like a wave system. So Pokemon would give me my allocation, but they would give me it in waves. I guess my distributors, I don't work with Pokemon directly. So I would get 100 boxes of a set, but I would get 60 on wave 1, 20 on wave 2, and 20 on wave 3, something like that. So that was less a reprint, more of just like a wave thing up front, just printing out across a couple of waves. But across the past 10 years that I've been in it, there are some sets that had reprints announced relatively early. There are some sets, mostly though, historically speaking, things would just be available for a couple of years. So I can't say confidently exactly what's what, but like Surging could reprint within the next few months. I have no idea. Nobody else has any idea. How did you start selling on eBay giving the 15% plus fees? Did you buy at 70% or less? I'm currently building eBay and card market simultaneously, but margins are slim and it takes a lot of time to sell. Liquidity is massive. So liquidity is massive right now. I generally would just buy at a lower percentage. I would grade. I would try to add margin where I could. I would try to buy at a lower percent, and I would grade and I would sell at full market or somewhere. But years ago, liquidity was way lower. Prices were way lower. Margin was higher on some things, lower on other things, hit or miss. But yeah, it's hard to say. But 15+% fees with shipping and all that, yeah, you got to be buying it like 70% or less to make any margin, right? Retro just out here fishing for compliments. Nothing wrong with a fisherman. Nothing wrong at all with a fisherman. Use your phone to stream if internet Wi-Fi drops. The 5G, take care. Where I live, there's no 5G. Where I live, it is 4G. It is very intermittent, rough 4G. So I have Verizon for my phone. I have T-Mobile for my home internet. It's interesting because T-Mobile outside of my house is worse almost everywhere that I go in day-to-day life. Since the home internet works so well, I actually picked up T-Mobile for my new cell phone carrier several months ago, and I tried it for a couple months and it was bad. So exactly where my home internet base is, my home internet modem, T-Mobile is crazy good 5G strength. But everywhere else, it's rough. Verizon in my house is pretty bad. Around my house is a lot better than T-Mobile, so that's why I use that for my cell phone. But yeah, I tried using my phone to go live to like fill in, but part of it is I'm live on OBS. I couldn't like tap into that live stream from YouTube itself. It was trying to generate a new live stream for me. It is Weedle. Weedle indeed. The famous Weedle. Why do you continue to drop Alan Lazard? Because he's not performing up to snuff. Weedle is better than OSP, says Hoot Hoot. What do you know about Maple Syrup Museum? So I may or may not have gone to a maple syrup museum on what day was it? On Monday, on my way home from the wedding. It was a cool little thing. I think it was $3 a person, $6 for myself and my wife to go through the maple syrup museum. Got to learn. I knew a little bit. I knew a fair bit about how maple syrup was produced. New York is a very big maple syrup area. I know. I'm like sensitive to, as I say a word that I know people produce different ways. Someone in comments is gonna be, it's syrup. It's not syrup. My freshman year roommate used to say that every time I said the word. But anyways, it was fun. The wedding was actually one of my favorite weddings I've been to. I talked to my wife about it on the drive home. They did a great job with it. The ceremony was awesome. The reception was awesome. They had a like the night before, they had a, whatever they call it, some kickoff pre thing. They did it different where the speeches were all that Friday night thing. Saturday, the wedding had a couple different people speak. So the best man and the maid of honor, they did their speeches on Friday night. The parents of the groom and bride did their speeches at the reception. And yeah, it was awesome. Then they had a farewell brunch on Monday morning. But it was a great time. Great time, great people, great food, and open bar. So it was a blast. It was a blast. Dan's the man. Appreciate you, Steve. How's it going, Metazoo? Metazoo hype. I feel like Charlie and GameCubator will be able to do something interesting things. I agree as well. Can't be worse than Mike Waddell. I fully expect Charlie and GameCubator Labs to captain the ship a lot better than Mike Waddell and company did. Do you walk on proverbial water? I've gotten to know that you never lose. Oh, I do lose. I do lose. When I go to the casino, I mostly lose. There are some plays that I've lost on over the years. I've still not tried Coke Zero. It's syrup, not syrup. Syrup does sound weird. I'm team syrup. Team syrup. But my freshman year roommate was very much team syrup, and I am corrected from time to time when I say that. I'm going to end there. We did it. We made it almost 3 hours in total. We made it 2.5 hours, accounting for the 20-minute lapse where I was live, but I was not live. I appreciate everyone hanging out. I see that I've actually dropped 499 frames in the past 40 minutes, so something is still going on. But yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. We are booming. It is a golden age of Pokemon. However you're engaging with it, enjoy. Enjoy. I don't think this will last forever. But right now, all the sets we have, the apps we have, the ways we have to engage with the characters we all know and love, I am very appreciative for it. My business is appreciative for it. The margins, the liquidity, all the different things we have. But yeah, I appreciate you all watching. I will catch you all later.